It's time for Streator Bulldogs football on WSPL. Bulldogs football is brought to you in part by OSF Healthcare, Streator Home Savings Bank, Bill Walsh Chevy Buick GMC Streator, Solentel for Funeral Home, SOCU, Farmers Insurance Agent Matt McMullen, Lucky Trucking, and Illinois Valley Community Hospital. And now with the call from the field in Streator, Illinois, it's Big Al Heisler and Nick Duranick.
Good evening and welcome to the Streator High School Athletic Field, where tonight the Streator Bulldogs open up the home portion of the 2016 season as they entertain the Blue Devils of Peotone in an Interstate 8 crossover game. Good evening, everyone. I'm Big Al Heisler. I'll provide all of tonight's play-by-play description. Joining me tonight, my color man, Nick Duranick. Nick, a beautiful night for high school football. What a difference a year makes.
Exactly.
Last year, week 2 of the season, Streator at Canton, 97 degrees at kickoff. Totally different atmosphere here tonight, where it's about 72 degrees and a lot of people with jackets that they're going to probably have to put on before this ball game is over. Streator comes in at 1-0, Peotone at 0-1, but Peotone lost to state-ranked Manteno last week, 19-13 in that ball game. The Blue Devils, time of possession, 36 minutes out of the 48 total, but they could only muster 13 points. They went the ball from the 20 to the 20, but as you know, it only counts when you get it across the goal line.
That's exactly what you always find out with the Manteno Panthers. They've been state-ranked. They've had a great squad over there for the past few years, and they're always one of the forces here in the I-8, including on our side of the conference. We'll be seeing them here very, very soon as well. And they're always the pick to beat here in the I-8 large. And you go to the small, and it's Wilmington on that side. And, Al, as I told you right before we got on here, Manteno's at Wilmington tonight, so that promises to be a good cross-conference matchup as well. And as you also mentioned, the weather, actually it's down to 69 degrees, so it's only 30 degrees cooler than we were last year. There's a nice little breeze coming in here, so it's very comfortable. It's always nice to have a nice, comfortable night for football, and I'm sure the players will appreciate that as well, where 97 degrees last year at Canton. I think with the humidity, it was about 107, and surprisingly, we didn't have any cramp injuries there last year. But, we go against the Blue Devils, who switched with Herscher over the offseason, so Herscher's now in the I-8 large, Peotone's in the I-8 small, and Streator was a 3-point winner there last year in conference play.
As we mentioned, the Blue Devils held the ball for 32 minutes last week against Manteno. They had 301 yards of total offense, but could only put up 13 points in that 19-13 loss. Streator, on the other hand, was at East Peoria, defeated the Raiders last week by a score of 17-6. Streator 1-0 on the season, and next Streator trying to go 2-0 for the first time since 2004. And actually, back in the 2004 season, Streator started the season at 3-0, but they lost 4 of their last 5 ball games to finish that campaign at 4-5. Back in that 2004 season, Streator defeated Peoria Central 25-13, and then defeated Woodruff 43-7. They did start 3-0 before losing 5 of 6. Last year at Peotone, the game was tied at 14 at the half, and at the end of the third quarter, all heck broke loose in that fourth quarter. The teams combined to score 33 points in the final 12 minutes of that ball game. And Alonzo Flores was the hero. He had a field goal connected from 29 yards out. He hit a game winner from 30 yards out with 4 seconds remaining.
It was a great back-and-forth fourth quarter there last year, and a little cramped up there at Peotone. And I think, one thing that we see difference with Peotone this year is they're without their 3-star athlete that they had last year, Cale Moffin, who graduated as a senior. Now they got their junior coming in Tyler Schweiss now. He's going to be their starting QB tonight. He's only a junior, so he'll be with the Blue Devils, not only for football, but he's also around for basketball and baseball. So he has a lot of speed, just like Cale Moffin did also in the past couple of years. So you'll see a similar thread in Schweiss now that we saw in Cale Moffin the past couple of years.
Streator sophomores lost a heartbreaker 22-20 in the prelim. Peotone scored a touchdown with 2:19 to go to tie it at 20. The conversion run was good. They win it by 2. We'll give you a complete recap of that ball game during the halftime of the varsity game. But we're going to need to take a commercial break. And then after this break, Nick had a chance to talk with Streator head coach Brian Hassett earlier on. We'll be along with that interview right after this. You're listening to Bulldog Football on AM 1250 WSPL and 98.5 FM.
Successful week one in East Peoria, not only on your level. JV had a big win, freshman a shutout win. You know, when you come into week one and all of your levels of football come out with big wins, what does that feel like for you for week one?
It feels great. We gave up 14 points, I think, and we scored over 100 in 3 games. So I think the program's headed in the right direction. Freshmen played extremely well, obviously. Our sophomores won 39-8, and we won 17-6. So, the varsity will put some more points on the board here coming up here in the near future, and, I feel pretty good about where we sit right now with the program.
Now, you look at last week's game, it was kind of the tale of two stories. 20 yards in the first half, but then you guys burst out for 14 points and a big win last week at East Peoria. So going into halftime between the first and second half, what was your thoughts of the first half, but then what were some things that you stressed coming out for the second half?
Well, the first half, I think we were minus in turnovers, so that kind of hurt us. We didn't effectively run the ball. We ran some incorrect routes, so then they started pressuring Johnny, and, we just need to do a better job up front. Offensively, we put a few different wrinkles in this week. I guess Peotone personnel thing. So I think we'll do a better job. In the beginning of the game, we need to start a little faster, and obviously we finished strong the other night. We were able to win 7-0.
Dunk McStoots and Mario just all came out. They seemed to really push down the throat of the Raiders there in the second half, and that seemed like it was a big turning point there for you guys in the second half.
Yeah, we made some adjustments. We did a few motion things, ran some different formations. I did a better job of putting us in the correct spot, by running the football, and Johnny led us, not by passing, but the huddle, and our offensive line did a much better job in the second half too to give us the opportunity to run the ball a little better.
You had a solid defense there last week, only holding East Peoria to 6 points, a couple of key interceptions, some big sacks late in the game as you look at your team overall last week, and that was a good winning performance that you guys brought out.
Yeah, it was a good win for us. Yeah, it's a good win for the program. We played great on defense, and we made adjustments in the second half, which, I'm proud of our staff for doing that.
Towards tomorrow, you're taking on Peotone. It's now a cross-conference game as they're not in the large. They're down into the small now. You guys got a big win at Peotone last year, and they come out with, a dual threat. They have a good quarterback there in Schweiso, and Gardner ran up close to 150 yards last week against a really good Mantino team who's state-ranked, lost by 6 points. So when you look at Peotone coming into tomorrow, what are some things you got to look at?
We got to stop the run. The Gardner kid's a ton. He's a really good runner. They're really good up front. Mantino only ran 37 offensive plays last week, so Peotone did a good job of, game planning and running the football and slowing Mantino's offense down for sure. So I think that, we got to kind of do the same thing, Peotone did. We got to slow the game down a little bit, and, we got to do a better job picking up the blitz because they're going to blitz a lot against us too.
Yeah, I know one of their big key losses was one of their three-sport stars in Cale Maupin, but then Schweiso, he's also a three-sport athlete themselves, so Peotone might be another team where you get your hands full. It might be another high-scoring game. It could be a very highly defensive game at the same time.
Yeah, could be either one. I'm looking to score more points, obviously, and our defense played great last week, and I think we'll do the same this week.
Now you look at your first home game of the season tomorrow. What's a good thing to stress on that?
Just staying focused during the day. It's going to be, I think we're going to have a great crowd tomorrow night, and kids got to stay focused all day and come out ready to play starting at 7 o'clock.
And when you look at your 3 keys for tomorrow night to come away with a 2-0 start, what are you looking at?
I think, first of all, we need to protect the quarterback better. We need to stop or contain Gardner, and we need to play great special teams.
And that is Streator High School head varsity football coach Brian Hassett talking with Nick Duranick in our pregame show, and he is correct. They're going to have to contain Gardner. Nick had 150 yards last week on 25 carries. He is what is called the bell cow for the Blue Devils. Also, better protection for the quarterback, John Benkendorf, was just 3 of 9 last week for 42 yards. And I got to say it, they've got the tunnel set up on the north side. The cheerleaders, band, Streetorettes, and here come the Bulldogs as they run through the tunnel to the near side. And East Peoria blitzed a lot last week. They sent more blitzers than what the Bulldogs had blockers, so I'm sure Streator worked on that in practice this week because the Interstate 8 loves to blitz because it's a big passing conference. And the special teams, Streator won that battle last week with Flores kicking a field goal and a couple of extra points.
And that's something you'll see in Peotone tonight. Schweisau last week against Mantino was 9 for 15, 125 yards. No touchdowns, no interceptions there, and then a couple rushing. Gardner, 25 carries on 146 yards. He ran for 2 touchdowns last week, and he was averaging also last week about 6 yards a game, so you're going to have to cut that in half if you're the Bulldogs tonight.
Peotone Blue Devils, Streator Bulldogs, Friday night football at the friendly confines. Peotone, blue and white, enrollment of 545. The Blue Devils will have the white jerseys and pants, blue helmets, numerals, lettering, and trim. Streator will have the red uniforms, red helmets, white numerals, white pants, and red trim. Streator will kick off to start this ball game. Bulldogs will go from right to left. Peotone will receive and have the ball to start this contest. Beautiful night for football. Here, week 2 of the season, the Bulldogs 1-0. Alonzo Flores gets his foot into it, takes a bounce to the near side at the 15-yard line. It's finally picked up by Peotone, and a good hit on the special teams just out past the 20-yard line, and the Blue Devils will have it there, 1st and 10.
That was Panning coming back on the return. He has some good speed himself, Al. He was in wide out last year also with Peotone. He comes in as a 6'3", 180 senior. Again, as I mentioned, lots of speed on him. And if you're Brian Hassett, though, you have to be pleased with how they came out in special teams. They're only allowing about 8 yards coming in.
Let's take a look at this Peotone offensive line, Nick, and boy, is it a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Tackles are 6'5", 255, and 6'4", 240. The center goes 6 foot, 240. So they've got some horses up front. The quarterback, as you said, Trevor Schweisau, the junior, and Chandler Gardner is the fullback or the tailback, and he'll get the first carry of the ball game straight up the middle, past the 25 to the 26. He'll pick up 4, 2nd and 6.
Todd Dunkelberger and Kendall Austin closing that gap real quickly there just for a few yards. They're looking to also for Streator, as they had some trouble last week at East Peoria, was getting the middle closed up on the Raiders. That's where they got a lot of their big plays. So that's something the Bulldogs are also going to have to watch tonight, is seeing these guys come straight up the middle.
Gardner picks up 4 on the first down carry, 2nd and 6 at the 26. Opening minute of play. 3 receivers set. Gardner is a single setback. Penalty marker thrown by the side judge across the way. And it looks like he's pointing towards Peotone, that they lined up offsides, and it is a 5-yard walk-off against the Blue Devils.
Wondering if that was at that far wideout that was just a tad over the line.
That'll make it 2nd and 11 from the 21-yard line. 11:16 to go here, opening quarter of play. Toby Bottom split wide to the far side. The big receiver, Alex Panning, the 6'4 senior, lines up to the near side. Schweitzer throws to the far side, has the receiver, and that is Toby Bottoms. And Bottoms will get past to about the 24-yard line, a very short gain, Nick, of about 3 yards, and it'll bring up long for the Devils.
Something that you noticed here before we got started, Al, is that Maurice Cunningham is actually starting at the outside linebacker. He was the first one in there, along with Dawson McStutes coming in to hold them to a short yardage gain there.
They're going to give him, last week I was given the extra yard. Tonight I didn't. The officials give him the extra yard. So I said a gain of 3. It is actually a pickup of 4. That'll make it 3rd and 8. So you would think a definite passing situation. Schweitzer behind the center, slant pass. Threw it behind the intended receiver, and that's Alex Panning, who was open at about the 35-yard line. Nick, it would have been good enough for the first down, but he threw it behind the receiver. It falls incomplete. Schweitzer now 1 of 2 for 4 yards, and that'll bring up 4th and 8 and a punting situation for Peotone.
And Panning was looking to use his height there. Unfortunately, the pass went right behind him as he was able to split the secondary. He would have had plenty of room to get the first down and probably a few extra yards as well.
10:31 to go, opening quarter, no score. A good snap and a rugby-type kick to the near side. It's a short kick, It hits inside the 50-yard line and will roll near the Streator sideline, and it'll be down at about the 41-yard line. 34-yard punt, no return, and Streator will have it for the first time. Offensively for the Bulldogs, Brandon Durden, the left tackle. Zach Wonders at left guard. Daniel Gonzalez at center. Boomer Dimmick will start this week at right guard. He was injured a week ago. Isaiah Dukes at right tackle. The ends, Colton Grace, Preston McCulley, Cooper Melvin, and Chad Moyer. The quarterback, John Bankendorf. And at running back is Todd Dunkelberger, along with Dawson McStute.
Go look for those front five to get some good pushes out there from last week. Second half was big for Streator as they were able to get McStute, Dunkelberger, and Diaz some running room.
Bankendorf fakes to the tailback, and he'll keep it himself. Goes off the right side, out to about the 45. He'll pick up 4, and it'll be 2nd and 6. And that's something that we did not see last week, Nick, was Bankendorf faking to the running backs and keeping it himself.
If you were looking at a lot of the stats last week, he got sacked quite a few times by the Raiders, and that was giving him, I think, negative 30 yards on his rushing side. And if you look at it last year, I think Bankendorf got his first start as a sophomore last year at Peotone, and he was able to gain 34 yards out of that one. He went 9 for 16 also last year at Peotone.
Shotgun formation. Colton Grace lined up to the near side. Dunkelberger in motion to the far side. Bankendorf rolls out, now throws. Intended receiver. Across the way was Preston McCulley. Pass falls incomplete. It'll make it 3rd and 6 at the Streator 46. 9:35 to go first quarter. No score.
Good coverage by the Blue Devils. Great pressure also flushing Bankendorf out of the pocket, pushing him right. He wasn't able to get too much. I think his intended receiver there wasn't able to see there. He had double coverage, though, on a lot of the guys there on the right side, so it's tough for him to make a play.
I'm going to call it the 45-yard line. It's closer to the 45 than it is the 46. Nonetheless, it's 3rd and 6 for the Bulldogs. 4 receivers set for Bankendorf. Slant pass. It is caught far side across midfield into Peotone territory down to about the 46-yard line, and that's Chad Moyer with the reception. And that'll be, we'll say, a gain of 10. Bankendorf now 1 of 2 for 10 yards, and Moyer with his first catch for 10 yards. It'll be first down Streator at the Blue Devil 45-yard line. 9:19 to go here in the opening quarter play, no score. Colton Grace to the near side. McCulley in the slot. Bankendorf in the shotgun, flanked by a pair of Bulldogs. Now McCulley in motion to the far side. Bankendorf takes the snap, pump fake, and he's going to go down.
One of the Blue Devils got through, and then the rest of the offensive line couldn't hold the rest, and then he got wrestled down there. Looks like a loss, probably about 7 or 8.
We're going to say 8-yard loss. As we said, the Interstate 8 loves to blitz. And right there they did. 2nd and 18 for the Bulldogs. Their own 47-yard line, 8.5 minutes to go, opening quarter of play. Beautiful night for football here at the Streator Field. Now we'll see what Coach Brian Hassett has dialed up on this 2nd and long. Trip receivers to the far side. Bankendorf shotgun formation, takes the snap. He's going to run with it. Fumble on the play, and they're going to say he was down. They're going to signal he was down. He was trying to reach. They're going to signal that he was down at the 48-yard line, just a gain of 1, and it'll be 3rd and 17. Bulldogs catch a break there.
That's something I was noticing even last week at East Peoria and even earlier in tonight's JV game is if you're running through these guys and you got 3, 4, 5 guys on you, got to put both hands on that ball. I noticed Bankendorf only had one arm laced around that ball, so that's prime way for him to get that thing punched right out of his arm.
And had it knocked out of his arm, but the whistle was blown. 3rd and 17 for Streator. Their own 48-yard line. 4 receivers set, 3 to the far side. Bankendorf shotgun formation. Dunkelberger throws a block, and the pass is incomplete. Far side at the 35-yard line where the first down marker was. Intended receiver was Chad Moyer. It's incomplete. Bankendorf now 1 of 3 for 10 yards, and the Bulldogs will punt it away.
There's another 4-man blitz there coming from Peotone, and I noticed that Zach Wonders wasn't able to keep up on his block there. That helped Bankendorf get flushed out of the pocket once again. So Peotone applying the pressure very, very well here on the first drive.
So Bankendorf in punt formation. High snap. The punt goes straight up. Hopefully it takes a Bulldog bounce, and it does, but it'll be a very short punt. It'll be down at the 32-yard line, and that'll be a 20-yard punt, no return. So Coach Brian Hassett saying special teams will be a big part. Thumbs down on the first punt of the ball game for the Bulldogs. That ball just basically went straight up and didn't take much of a bounce. And as a result, Peotone will get a lot better field positions than what it should have. With 7:31 to go here in the first quarter, Blue Devils have it at their own 32-yard line. 3 receivers set, 2 to the far side. Gardner is the lone setback. He'll take the handoff. Has some running room on the far side, 35-40. 45 midfield, and he's finally brought down from behind inside the 45-yard line of the Bulldogs. They're going to say the 44-yard line, and that'll be a 24-yard run. Get a credit to everyone on the left side there for Peotone. They were pushing back all of the Streator defense that was able to give Gardner some great running room there in a big game. Gardner now 2 carries, 28 yards. Blue Devils in Bulldog territory. 1st and 10 at the 44, 7:15 to go first quarter. 3 receivers set. Schweisau under center. Once again, we'll give to Gardner. Oh, he ran into the big guy, Isaiah Dukes, the 6'1", 260-pound senior. Gotta love that, right when you get your running back running right into your first guy there on the line. Isaiah Dukes getting right up there, giving him a big bear hug and taking him down. Gain of 1 for Gardner, 2nd and 9. 6:43, clock running, first quarter of play. Bulldogs 1-0, Blue Devils 0-1. 3 receivers set. Schweisau under center, Gardner the single setback. He will take the handoff, and now we got a penalty marker down. And Gardner brought down on the play by, looks like Diaz got in there. That'll be Mario Diaz, the 5'7", 185-pound senior. And boy, he's dropped some weight from last year. 210 last year, down to a svelte 185. But he's still holding strong there. He's got a lot of upper body strength, as Brian Hassett was telling me. So he was able to lift some extra weights there during the offseason, get a little extra strength on him. So you drop the weight, but you also put on the muscle weight, so it gives him a little extra strength there. Peotone comes back on the whole 10 yards. Ball back at the Blue Devil 46-yard line, 2nd and 20. Schweisau, slant pattern, had a receiver, picked off on the play. Interception by Kendall Austin, the 5'8", 210-pound senior. The pass hit off the intended receiver's hands, and that's Alex Tanning. It was thrown behind him. The ball went up, and Kendall Austin comes up with the INT. The Bulldogs get it back. They'll have it 1st and 10 at their own 43-yard line. That's the second time that Schweisau passed right behind Alex Panning, and that time Panning was able to get a hand on it, but he popped it up, and that gave Kendall Austin the perfect opportunity to slide in there and make the INT. First turnover of the ball game. 6:09 to go first quarter. Streator has it. 1st and 10 at its own 43-yard line. Twin receiver set to the far side. Bankendorf shotgun formation. Will hand off to Dawson McStoots. McStoots straight ahead to the 45, and that's a tough 2-yard pickup for the 5'6", 170-pound junior. This is another area that Coach Hassett was telling me about this. They needed to make a little extra effort on tonight, and they were having this trouble at East Peoria, at least in the first half last week, where the offensive line wasn't able to give enough push out there so that these guys could get a little extra running room. And I think, if I remember correctly, Al, it was only 20 total yards there last week in East Peoria in the first half. 4 receivers set, 2 to each side. Bankendorf shotgun formation. Will throw to the near side. Has the receiver, Colton Grace, but he dropped it. Tried to run with the ball, Nick, before he actually caught the ball, and it falls incomplete. Bankendorf now 1 of 4 for 10 yards. It'll bring up 3rd and 8. And Todd Dunkelberger, who was the leading rusher last week for the Bulldogs, the 5'7", 210-pound senior, no carries yet here in the first series plus. Colton Grace just needed to work with the fundamentals there. Catch the ball first, then turn it upfield. 3rd and 8, Streator, its own 45-yard line. McCulley, man in motion to the far side, giving it 3 receivers. Bankendorf rolls out to the right, now throws. Ball is tipped, incomplete. Bankendorf off to a slow start. He is now 1 of 5 for 10 yards. And it looks like the Bulldogs are going to have to punt it away for the second time in 2 possessions.
He was going for the target on Chad Moyer. It seems like that's his favorite target so far tonight. I think 3 of his 4 attempts have been to Chad Moyer so far tonight. Bulldogs football here on WSPL, brought to you by OSF Healthcare, Streator, Ottawa, Mendota, making healthcare all together better.
5:26 to go. Dunkelberger this time on to punt. End over end punt. It'll hit at the 30-yard line, take a good Bulldog bounce inside the 20, down to about the 17-yard line. And that'll be a 38-yard punt. No return, and Peotone will have it. 1st and 10 with 5:16 to go here in the first quarter, which is scoreless.
That was a great punt for Dunkelberger to come out. As we saw in the first punt there, Bankendorf was just basically gave it a major league pop-up and only went less than 20 yards. And this time, Dunkelberger able to get the Blue Devils back pretty far in their own territory.
Just wondering if maybe Coach Hassett has Bankendorf on the punt, just in case later in the ballgame they go in that formation and try to fake punt and have him throw the ball. Gardner takes the handoff from the quarterback, and he'll get out past the 20-yard line out to about the 23. He'll pick up 7 yards on that first down carry, maybe close to the 18.
As we were mentioning,
the 23 or 23-yard line. So that'll be a pickup of 7. So Gardner now 4 carries for 36 yards.
We were mentioning in pregame Gardner last week at a state-ranked Mantino, making about 5-6 yards a carry. So that's something the Bulldogs are going to have to keep it kind of lower here tonight.
Toby Bottom stood wide to the near side, panning to the far side. Give to the man straight up the middle. We'll have enough for the first down out to about the 29-yard line, and that will be a new ball carrier, and that's Dylan Bugie.
Did I get that right? That is correct. Dylan Bugie. Had a couple carries last year as a sophomore, three carries, 10 yards when Streator was at Peotone.
A gain of 6 for Bugie on his first toe to the ball game gives Peotone the first down. Now an I formation. They'll give it to Gardner off the right side, and he's straight to about the 39-yard line. He's going to be close to another Peotone first down. Depending on the spot, now they might bring it back to the 38. That'll be a 9-yard gain, and that'll be 2nd and 1. Gardner now 5 carries, 45 yards, averaging 9 yards a tote here in the first quarter.
Far line judge was giving him that less yard, and while the near line judge was giving him right at the line there. So went with the far judge here to keep him a yard short.
And they're going to keep running the ball, and they'll have enough for the first down.
Kind of reminiscent of the first half again last week, as the Raiders were all smash mouth football through 3 quarters of that game last week. So that's what Peotone is driving on right now, and it's kind of turning out like that one scoring drive that the Raiders did have.
Bugie now 2 carries for 10 yards. And Peotone has it at its own 42-yard line. 3:39 to go here to scoreless first quarter. Receivers to both sides. I formation, penalty marker down.
That was from the back, or the umpire right there, throwing up the flag.
Well, that's a tough position to be in. That umpire right behind the defensive line. It'll be a 5-yard walk-off against the Blue Devils.
He was pointing at the right guard, Jacob Johnson, for that false start. Johnson's a 5'11 junior.
So that'll make it 1st and 15. Peotone its own 37-yard line. 3:20 to go, first quarter, no score. I formation, receivers to both sides. Give to Gardner straight up the middle, has running room 40. Midfield, Streator 40 to the 30, and finally brought down from behind at about the 28-yard line. A 45-yard gain.
Colton Grace had the right idea there when he was trying to make the tackle. He put his one arm right up where where Gardner had the ball, and he was trying to strip it away, and that would have been a nice strip if he could have gotten that down. And then Gardner was able to get his extra arm in there to protect the ball. So a big gain there for the Blue Devils as they're in Streator territory for the first time tonight.
Gardner now 6 carries, 90 yards. Well, they're able to move the ball. We'll see how much further they can move it. I formation. Once again, Gardner straight up the middle. Close to the 25, a pickup of 4. It'll be 2nd and 6. They controlled the clock last week against Mantino, over 300 yards of total offense. But it doesn't matter if you move the ball from the 20 to the 20. It counts getting it across that goal line. Gardner, Nick, approaching 100 yards here in the first quarter. 7 carries, 94 yards. 2nd and 6 at the Bulldog 25-yard line. 3 receiver sets, single setback. Sean Weiss throws to the far corner of the end zone. Incomplete. It'll be 3rd and 6. And coverage, I do believe Cooper Melvin. Melvin on the coverage. Good coverage by Melvin. And now Schweisau, 1 of 4 for 4 yards, and it's 3rd and 6 at the 25 with 2:03 to go in quarter number 1. Receivers to both sides, the man in the slot to the near side. Gardner is the tailback. Schweisau throws to the near side, has receiver Ryan Brewer. Brewer inside the 20 down to the 19, and he's going to be close to another Peotone first down. Depending on the spot.
Looks like they're marking him about half a yard short. Maybe closer to a yard short. No measurement, so they're going to keep it going.
I'm going to say it's less than a yard. Well, pick up a 5 then if it's going to be that. I formation. And they'll give it to the fullback straight up the middle. Boy, and it depends where they're going to spot the ball, but I think he has it. You just never know. Streator signaling he doesn't have it. I've got to think that he does.
Looks like that's far.
That's Buki on the carry.
He'll be very close here.
Referee looks at the ball, looks across the way, and he's going to say, bring on the chains. It's either going to be 1st and 10 Peotone at the 19-yard line, or it's going to be 1st and 10 Streator.
Just based on where that far chain is, I'm going to say they got about probably half the ball there. Maybe closer to the front nose.
So you think they have it or no?
I think they have it.
I think they have it as well. I'd like to be wrong, though. Just this once. They stretch the chains. Short. No way, Bulldogs say, and they Streator will take over. Wow.
We were both wrong there. But it's a good time to be wrong.
I was going to say, it's better to be wrong in that situation.
And he was given about that much room, so it was probably about the tip of the nose. I would say a couple inches short there with the far chain. So that's a great turnover there.
So the Bulldogs will take over 1st and 10, their own 20-yard line with 1:11 to go in the first quarter. Benkendorf, shotgun formation, will give to Dunkelberger. And there he goes, starting off right, cutting back left, doing a lot of east and west.
Not something that you like.
Not at all. And as a result, he's going to lose.
I think one of the issues there they had were Peotone brought in 6 guys to bring the house down and really didn't give too much room there for Dunk to run.
I'm going to say it's about the 13-yard line. I'm going to say a loss of 7.
There's great pressure being put right now by the defensive line and even some of the secondary there for the Blue Devils.
Half a minute to go here in the scoreless first quarter. 2nd and long for the Bulldogs. Benkendorf, shotgun formation. Man in motion to the near side. And some running room to the far side. 20, 25, 30, 35-yard line, and the Bulldogs are going to have enough for the first down. And that'll be Dunkelberger on the carry. Good things happen when you run north and south. That's all I'm going to say. Now, Dunk was able to break up about 4 tackles there after Peotone brought, once again, a big blitz coming in, and he was able to spin off a couple of those tackles and get a great gain there. 22-yard pickup out to the 35-yard line. That may be the final play of quarter number 1, Nick, as we're down to 7 seconds to go, and the Bulldogs still in the huddle. Streator will have it when we start the second quarter, 1st and 10, at their own 35-yard line. One quarter of football complete at the Streator field. And that was a Bill Walsh Streator first down. You're always first with Bill Walsh, Chevy Buick, and GMC in at Streator. 1 quarter of football complete. Streator 0, Peotone 0. Second quarter action in a minute. You're listening to Bulldog Football on AM 1250 WSPL and 98.5 FM.
This game is brought to you by your friends at the Bill Walsh family of dealerships in Ottawa, Peru, and Streator, where support of high school athletics has always been an important part of our community focus. If you're looking for the best quality new and used vehicles, turn to Bill Walsh and BillWalsh.com, where you'll always find at least 1,800 vehicles from 27 manufacturers, along with nice people, unbeatable service, and the best advice, all at the right price. Bill Walsh and BillWalsh.com, your hometown dealer. We're powered by service.
The IVCH medical staff is now even stronger with the addition of longtime orthopedic surgeon Dr. UK Sinha. Dr. Sinha will share his talents throughout the Valley from his Streator office. With more than 30 years of experience, Dr. Sinha is focused on exceptional outcomes with compassionate care. Considering joint replacement or other orthopedic surgery? Call Dr. Sinha for an appointment at 815-672-2829. Learn more at ivch.org. IVCH, community values extraordinary care.
Bulldogs have it. Pass to the near side from Bankendorf to Chad Moyer at the 39-yard line. Falls incomplete. Bankendorf now 1 of 6 for just 10 yards. So Peotone went for it on 4th and about 1. We thought Bugie had the first down. He was just inches short. The Bulldogs take over. But the Bulldogs now faced with 2nd and 10. Their own 35-yard line, opening seconds of the second quarter, we have no score. Receivers to both sides. Bankendorf shotgun formation will give to the first man through, and that will be Dunkelberger. And Dunkelberger out to the 38. He'll pick up 3. It'll be 3rd and 7 for the Bulldogs. Well, I'm glad that stat man Dan Pauk is keeping track with me tonight. I had Gardner with the 45-yard run. It was a 35-yard run. So I've been wrong. Very generous. I've been wrong twice tonight. I will admit to that. Fake by Bankendorf on 3rd and 8 throws. Has a receiver. Now it's intercepted. Dual possession. Who has it? Dual possession should go to the receiver. We'll have to wait and see.
Peotone's calling it for them.
Peotone says they have the ball.
Yes, it says Streator has
the ball. It was dual possession.
And it looks like they're going to give it to Streator.
And it was a catch, and that's Preston McCulley.
Ties go to the runner. Dual reception goes to the receiver.
I do believe that'll be a 14-yard pickup, unless I'm wrong again. Sometimes you don't mind being wrong.
We're being wrong in the right ways today.
Yeah. Under 11 minutes to go in the half, 1st and 10th Streator at the Peotone 48. Bankendorf airs it out to the near sideline. Oh, and Colton Grace had a step on the intended receiver, but John Bankendorf just overshot him.
Omar Rizal's great coverage there by Peotone. I think, I believe Colton Grace was looking at the near judge here. He's probably looking for a little bit of contact there, maybe get a pass interference call, but he wasn't getting any of it.
.10:48 to go second quarter. Streator 2nd and 10 at the Peotone 48-yard line. That was almost like a Tony Romo to Des Bryant throw.
That's when they're both healthy, though.
Give to Mario Diaz straight up the middle. Diaz just steamrolled a Peotone defender as he bowls his way to the 36-yard line, a pickup of 12 yards.
Diaz always seems to be that special weapon that Hassett holds on to, because you didn't see him at all much in the first quarter, but now he's coming out. And usually his first couple of touches, he just steamrolls right in there, as you mentioned, and he picked up a great first down there for the Bulldogs.
He runs like that, he's going to get a few more carries here tonight. He's in the ball game right now. 1st and 10 at the 36-yard line. Diaz will get this carry. Now we're going to have a late flag after the play is basically over, and that is thrown by the referee in the backfield, and that usually means a hold.
I'll be surprised if he calls it a hold, though, after Diaz went down.
Diaz slow. Who's slow to get up? Is that Diaz? No, that's not Diaz. That's Dunkelberger. I don't know if he's John with a Peotone player, and
they did call it a hold.
Hold back to the 45-yard line.
Yeah, I'm just surprised he was calling it a hold after the play was dead, though. Dunk went down, and then he threw in the flag. I think that's what he was asking about, too. Or, I'm sorry, that was Kendall Lawson talking with the referee there.
John Bankendorf to the near sideline, getting the play from head coach Brian Hassett. 10:28 to go. First half, no score from the Streator football field. Bulldogs have it 1st and 20 at the Blue Devil 45-yard line. Man in motion to the near side, McCulley, pass down the middle, deflected. It was intended for Cooper Melvin.
As a dangerous pass as Ryan Brewer almost was able to actually pick that one off as he was throwing in the double coverage right there, and he threw it right behind his intended receiver there, so a dangerous pass there by Bankendorf.
2nd and 20 for the Bulldogs at the Peotone 45-yard line. No score. It's an Interstate 8 crossover game. Bulldogs looking to go 2-0 for the first time in 12 years. Moyer, Melvin, McCulley to the near side, Colton Grace to the far side. Dunkelberger, single setback. Bankendorf fakes to him, now throws to the near side. And they're not signaling anything yet. They pick up the ball and go. No, they call it incomplete. I thought they might have called it a lateral. I didn't hear the whistle.
I didn't even see any hand motions going into it, but
Bankendorf 2 of 10 for 24 yards. It'll be 3rd and 20 for the Bulldogs. 3 of 9, I do believe, last week for Bankendorf. 2 of 10 here tonight. Just has to find his rhythm, and he'll be fine. Moyer and McCulley to the near side. Grace to the far side. Takes the snap. They've got the screen set up to Dunkelberger, but he was ahead of the blockers. You got to let the blockers get ahead of you. And it'll be a pickup of 2.
He got ahead of the blockers. Blockers let their guys come through, so Bankendorf, who's also out to punt now, just didn't have anywhere to go.
Bulldogs will punt it away. It's Bankendorf. Oh, he got ran over. Penalty marker coming down. It'll be roughing the kicker. Or roughing the punter. We'll have to wait and see, though. Is it a 5-yard, or is it going to be 15 yards?
Well, usually, from what I remember, is if you run into the punter, but he doesn't go down, it's usually the 5 yards, but he did go down on that one, so it'll probably be the 15-yard variety. Because you got running into the kicker, and then you have roughing the kicker.
And how does a guy get in that fast when you're trying to punt?
I think he's asking. And just based on the reaction that the coaches were giving down here, they might just call it running into the kicker. So that might just be the 5-yard variety that they're giving them. Because I saw Hassett, I saw Dave Holmes. They're throwing their arms over at him. And Holmes, he doesn't even look too happy on it. They haven't even gotten the official call yet. Still 4th down. It'll be a 5-yard walk-off. So they'll mark the ball at the 40, or 4:38. This time Dunkelberger is back to take the punt. So this would be a position here if they had Benkendorf on that you might want a fake punt. See if they'll bring the rush here again. And Dunkelberger kicks it. It'll go inside the 10-yard line. Yeah, somebody blew the whistle, and I don't think had some extracurricular back here with Dunkelberger again. Dunkelberger, and also looks like penalty marker down. We'll have to wait and see what this is. Trying to see who the other guy that was in there. Well, if my roster's correct, it was Lucas Sharisky also in that little extracurricular down there with Dunk. We got a personal foul against Streator, and that's Dunkelberger or Sharisky, depending. Personal foul against Peotone. They offset. Bulldog players need to get their emotions under control. If it was against Dunkelberger, that's the second time he's lost his temper. He had to be pushed away one time by a couple of teammates. His brother was ejected from the game last week, Michael. He got tossed for an unsportsmanlike conduct and is sitting out tonight's ball game. Well, I guess also positive from this punt, though, Dunk was able to get them deep into their own territory. They're going to start their own 8-yard line. 9:31 to go, second quarter. Peotone deep in its own territory, 1st and 10 at the 8-yard line. I formation, receivers to both sides. Schweisau will give it to Gardner, straight up the middle, past the 10, out to the probably 13, gain of 5. So instead of 94 yards, as I mentioned, he has 84. The 5-yard carry there will make it 89. Bulldog football and WSPL brought to you by the Streator Home Savings Bank, where they've been in business in Streator since 1894. 132 Southland Road Street in Streator. Under 9 minutes to go in the half, no score. 2nd and 5 for Peotone. They give it to Gardner off the left side, out past the 15 to about the 17. They'll pick up 4. It'll be 3rd and short. Coming up here in a little bit, we'll get you your Solon Telford Funeral Home out-of-town scoreboard. We're getting some big ones coming in. Already I'm being told that Marquette up big already on South Beloit. That was not unexpected, I guess. 3rd and 2 for Peotone. Its own 17-yard line. 8:22 and counting to go here in a scoreless first half. Receivers to both sides, I formation. Gardner off the right side has enough for the first down as he is tripped up out past the 20 to the 23-yard line. He'll pick up 6. They'll move the chains. First down for the Blue Devils. Looks like with these new bleachers here, Al, as we forgot to make that mention, is we have got the new bleachers here tonight. A little bit of change here in the seating. We'll talk about that here in a second. Schweisau rolls out, throws, pass incomplete. It was much like last year because now when you look across the field, you got a lot of parking where the visiting bleachers used to be. The student section's right under us, and you got the band to the left, Peotone fans all the way down the last couple of sections, and you got your special season ticket holders section right here in the middle, and then the rest of the fans, and a very good crowd on both sides tonight. Schweisau now 2 of 6 for 9 yards. 7:54. Quarter number 2, no score.
Peotone, 2nd and 10, its own 24-yard line. Receivers to both sides, I formation. It's Gardner again. Had 25 carries last week in the loss to Mantino. He's well on his way. Well, who got the carry there? I'm going to give it to Gardner, even though I couldn't tell. We'll have to talk to the brain here in a little bit. 3rd and 8. Peotone, its own 26-yard line. Big play for the Bulldog defense right here. 2 receivers to the near side. Schweitzer, they have the screen set up. Gardner has it. Breaks the tackle by Dunkelberger. Breaks another tackle. Out past the 30 to the 32-yard line. And he's going to be a couple of yards short of a first down. Good screen set up there by the Blue Devils, though. Gardner was able to break off a couple of tackles, a couple spin moves there to get away from a couple of the Bulldog defenders. Get the claw through there for a few extra yards. And it's 4th and 3. Peotone lining up like it wants to go for it. So the Bulldogs need to be careful here for the long count. Peotone, will they go for it at the 32-yard line? Yes, they will. They give it to Gardner off the right side, and he's going to have enough of the first down. That's a gutsy call right there. 4th and 3 at your own 32-yard line. He'll have more than enough. It looks like Far Judge is giving him about a yard over that stick. He'll pick up 3. And that's a big, gutsy call. At your own 32-yard line. First down, Blue Devils. They have it 1st and 10, their own 35. Scoreless second quarter, 6:17 to go before the halftime intermission. Trip receivers to the near side. Schweitzer back to throw, throws it straight down the middle, and it's incomplete. Looks like he was going for Gardner there right down the middle. And overshot Gardner by about 10 yards. Schweitzer now 3 of 8 for 15 yards. Gardner's been the bell cow for Peotone. 12 carries, 104 yards, unofficially. 6:08 to go first half. No score. 2nd and 10, Blue Devils, their own 35-yard line. Hey, we'd like to give a shout-out to Streator High School varsity soccer coach Jim Muntz. His team defeated Herscher last night 3-2 in Interstate 8 conference play. It was Coach Muntz's 300th career victory. Pitch, and now a sack in the backfield by Cooper Allen, or that it'll be a loss of yardage. Ryan Brewer on the carry, and he's going to lose 5 yards. I got the chance to go see the second half of that game last night, and Coach Muntz was telling me that Herscher has been one of the top teams to beat, not only in the I-8, but also in the state as well, as they've been a state running team for the past couple of years. I think they have finished 2nd in the state not too long ago. 3rd and 15, Peotone, its own 30-yard line. 5.5 minutes to go in the first half. Schweitzer throwing down the far sideline. It's double coverage by the Bulldogs, and the pass overshot the intended receiver, Toby Bottoms. So Schweitzer having a tough time throwing the ball tonight. He is 3 of 9 for 15 yards. His counterpart, John Benkendorf, 3 of 11 for 26 yards. Schweitzer just not having a whole lot of luck. He's been throwing behind. He's been throwing in front. He's been throwing over his players right now. So that's something he's going to have to work on coming out probably after the first half is done here. Punt formation for Peotone. Boy, a low line drive kick. And it'll be down at about the 42-yard line. 5:17 to go here in the first half. Streator will have the ball when we come back. We're going to take a 30-second timeout. Back in half a minute. You're listening to Bulldog Football. AM 1250, WSPL, and 98.5 FM.
Hard work, determination, and the willingness to give more than expected.
That's what makes you better. Lucky Trucking has built their company on this and is proud to support the Streator Bulldogs and all the youth in the area, whether it's in the classroom or on the field. With the support of the community and our young people's hard work, determination, and willingness to give more than expected, they will exceed their goals in life. Lucky Trucking in Streator, a leader in warehousing and transfer, including dry and liquid, for over 65 years.
1st and 10 Bulldogs, their own 43-yard line to give to Dunkelberger straight up the middle. He falls forward, out past the 45 to the 46. Gain of 3. Dunkelberger now 4 carries, 21 yards. It'll be 2nd and 7 Streator at its own 46-yard line. Under 5 minutes to go here in the first half, Nick. That was Diaz. And we have no score. 23 or 33. That's the third time I've been wrong in a half. Maybe it's time for me to hang it up. Fake to Diaz. Bankendorf's going to keep it himself, and he's going to be dropped for a loss at about the 42 or 43-yard line. They can't necessarily call it to be done yet. I mean, you've only put in 30 years. 30 years, 3 winning seasons, and 1 playoff win. Maybe I'm the jinx. I'm afraid to hang it up because then Streator would go on an ungodly run of making the playoffs for about 10 years in a row, winning a state championship. Then how do you think I'd feel?
Yeah, you just gotta keep it going like Vince Scully.
Yeah, but at least he's called some World Series winners. 3rd and 10 for the Bulldogs, their own 43-yard line. Bankendorf throws, and the only people there were in white jerseys, and that's not who you want to throw at.
I think he was going for Colton Grace there, and Grace had a couple of guys right on him, and right when he made his shift to go right, he ran right into one of the defenders, so he wasn't able to even get close to that pass.
I don't know if this is a defensive juggernaut or just an offensive struggle for both teams. Bankendorf now 3 of 12 for 26 yards. Scheisau 3 of 9 for 15 yards. Dunkelberger on to punt, gets off a nice punt. Fair catch called for at the 30-yard line. That will be a 27-yard punt. Seemed like a lot longer than that.
Let's take a look at your Solon Telford Funeral Home out of town scoreboard. Al, right now, halftime, Colt City up on Lyle 7-0. Colt City is where we go next week when the Bulldogs open I-8 large action. The big matchup, though, right now in cross conference, Wilmington's up on Mantino 21-12 at the half. Last we heard Marquette was up on South Beloit 16-0 in the first quarter. El Paso Gridley right now up on Fieldcrest 14-6 at the half. We'll give you a couple other scores here in just a second.
Peotone has it 1st and 10, their own 30-yard line. 3:42 to go first half. 3 receivers set, and the give to Gardner.
Second quarter action right now. Galesburg is up on LaSalle Peru 21-0. No score after 1 between Ottawa and Chicago. Bronzeville. Plano's up on Harvard right now at the half, 21-0. St. Bede over Bureau Valley 7-6 after 1.
Gain of 2 for Gardner. He has 13 carries for 106 yards. 2nd and 8, their own 32. Approaching 3 minutes to go in the first half. 3 receivers set. Schweitzow under center. Once again, we'll give to Gardner. This time he'll run it off the left side. Breaks the tackle of Cunningham. And he'll get out past the 40-45 out to the midfield stripe. That'll be a gain of 18 yards. But they might mark. Looks like we got a cramp on the play for Cooper Melvin. And let's hope that's all it is a cramp. 49-yard line will be a gain of 17.
He's Gardner. He's kicking up his left leg there, and he's immediately up right now. That's what I'm guessing. Yeah, he's just kind of hobbling there from that left leg. He's not putting too much pressure on it. He looked like he was holding his thigh in there just a little bit. So I'm guessing that's all it was a cramp. Brittany's just going to be stretching it out there. I know folks out there like to hear what's happening with Flanagan, Cordell, Woodland. We haven't seen anything on their action at Hayworth. If anyone out there does know what the FCW score is, though, just go ahead and post it to the WSPL Facebook page so we can get that updated at the same time.
2:57 to go in the first half. No score. Timeout on the field. We'll take a 30-second timeout as well. You're listening to Bulldog Football, AM 1250 WSPL at 98.5 FM.
It's always easier to have the right tools for any job. And the same is true for a better and more convenient banking experience. This is Ed Molo from Streator Home Savings Bank, and we have all the tools you need. From Streator Home's interest-bearing now checking accounts and debit cards to our complimentary online banking, bill pay, and ATM. We're Streator Home Savings Bank on South Monroe Street in Streator, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Big Al Heisler, Nick Duranick back at the Streator High School football field. 2:57 to go in the first half. No score. And Peotone will have it first and 10, its own 49-yard line. Well, we were at Peotone last year, Al, and we were also in the midst of October baseball at the time when the Cubbies and the Cardinals got started with the NLCS. And Cubbies, they're some team this year at least. 40 games over 500. That's a big win today over the Giants. What are they, 87-47. Twice now will throw it out of the pocket. We'll dump it off to the near side. Has the receiver. It's Bugie. Bugie at the 30, 25-20, 15-10, 5, touchdown. 49-yard or 51-yard touchdown pass from Trevor Schweitz now to Dylan Bugie, and Peotone on the board with 2:44 to go here in the first half.
And Bugie was just open here on the near side. I think Schweitz, he had a bit of pressure coming in for the secondary and the lineman, the D line, and it was just a quick pass out to Bugie. I think they were just looking for a few yards there, but then Bugie was able to miss out on a couple of tackles, and he goes all the way down the sideline.
Just took it down to the near sideline in front of the Bulldog bench. 51 yards for the touchdown. Pretty much untouched. Extra point try on. Snap back, hold down, kick is up, and it is good. Peotone draws first blood. 2:44 to go first half. Peotone 7, Streator nothing. Kickoff after this. You're listening to Bulldog Football. AM 1250, WSPL and 98.5 FM.
The forensic analyst searched for the clue that would lead her to the arsonist. Traces of starch all around the wreckage of the house. Suddenly, all the pieces came together. The fire was started by
an over-microwaved potato?
But the scorched house was covered, thanks to Farmers Insurance. Hot Potato, July 25th, 2015. Talk to a farmer's agent. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Come see me, Matt McMullen, your Farmers Insurance agent, at our new office at 424 East Main Street here in Streator.
2:44 to go here in the first half, and Peotone gets on the board first thanks to a 51-yard pass from Trevor Schweitzow to Dylan Bugie. We'll see if the Bulldogs can respond here, Nick, with 2:44 to go in the half. But they'll have to look a lot better than what they've done so far here in the half. Just like last week, struggling here in the first two quarters. That's all I need to do is they got to get that one good run of even smash mouth footballs. We saw Diaz came in for a few runs tonight, and he was able to get some great yardage out of that. And at the same time, looks like the offensive line at times is giving Bankendorf enough time to at least try and set something up. So a little bit more patience, but also a little bit more oomph there by the front five to keep giving Bankendorf a little extra time each play. Unofficially, Nick, I have Streator with 55 yards of total offense here in the first two quarters. And you're not going to win many ball games with that few of yards and a half. A short kick taken by one of the Bulldogs' up men, and that is Caleb Gallup, a 5'8", 155-pound junior. And he'll advance it out to the 42-yard line, and Streator will have it there, first and 10. They're still working on Cooper Melvin on the track to the near side. Brittany Delaney working on the right leg of Melvin. And also someone else getting stretched out. And that is Mario Diaz. Diaz and Melvin, 32 and 33. Benkendorf throws a pass caught by Colton Grace to the far side. Will now try to cut it to the near side, and he'll be dropped at about the 45-yard line, a short gain of 3. Caught the ball, and then he started coming back this way, doing the east and west thing instead of going north and south. It'll be a short gain of 3 yards.
Right there, though, you got to credit the Blue Devil the defense there for the Blue Devils, including the secondary, was able to kind of surround. They were able to surround Grace right there. So didn't give him too much running room to go north and south. So he had to convert to the east and west to try and find that gap. Unfortunately, he just never got to him. A gain of 2 to the 44. Under 2 minutes to go in the half. 2nd and 8. Bulldogs are 44-yard line. Benkendorf flushed out of the pocket. Now he's going to be dropped back at the 37-yard line. That'll be a loss of 7. Benkendorf was just looking around, looking for his receivers, just wasn't able to find anyone that was open. And I honestly thought that he had a couple of chances there. He could have turned it upfield and maybe gotten a few extra yards on the ground. But every time he tried to take a turn to the north, there was somebody right there blocking his path, so he had to keep going towards the near sideline and just wasn't able to get anything done.
Benkendorf shotgun formation, takes the snap, pumps fake, flushed out of the pocket again. He's going to keep it. He's going to advance it out to the midfield stripe, still on his feet to the 45-yard line of Peotone. And that'll be a 17-yard gain and enough for a Bulldog first down.
Again, that was just reminiscent of the last play where he couldn't find any of his receivers. And again, credit to the Blue Devil secondary for keeping all the receivers that tagged up there. So he took it this time himself and was able to get around a couple of guys and get a nice big gain for himself.
To the Peotone 45-yard line, under a minute to go in the first half. Benkendorf takes the snap. Will throw it to the near sideline. It's caught, but failing to get out of bounds is McStutz. And now the Bulldogs are going to have to call a timeout after that short 3-yard gain.
That'll be the Bulldogs' first timeout there. Bulldogs football on WSPL brought to you by Streator Onei's Credit Union, also brought to you by our friends over at OSF Healthcare and Streator Ottawa Mendota, making healthcare altogether better, and also out to Streator Home Savings Bank. They've been in business in Streator since 1894 for savings accounts, checking accounts, certificates of deposit. See the Streator Home Savings Bank, 132 South Monroe Street in Streator.
And John Benkert over that 17-yard first down run. And Bill Walsh, Streator first down. You're always first with Bill Walsh, Chevy Buick, GMC in Streator.
Just hoping for that touchdown here, maybe one to tie it up so folks out there can hear you do the Farmer's Jingle.
I'd be glad to do it. 49 and a half seconds to go in the first half. Streator trails 7-0. 2nd and 8, Peotone 42-yard line. 4 receiver set. Benkendorf shotgun formation, takes the snap, throws it to the near side, has Moyer. Moyer will get out of bounds at the 32-yard line, and that'll be a gain of 10.
That'll be enough for another Bill Walsh first down. Let Bill Walsh Streator help you drive away the new Chevy Buick or GMC that you have always wanted.
Moyer with the catch. 2 catches, 20 yards. Ball at the 32-yard line. 43 seconds to go. Shotgun formation. Benkendorf gets the snap. Will now air it down straight down the middle. Has a receiver there. Diving attempt. And just off the fingertips. It would have been one heck of a catch. And that was Preston McCulley. He almost came up with that. He sprawled out.
I don't think he could have gotten more extended on that to try and make a catch.
Pass incomplete, 2nd and 10 at the 33. 37 and a half seconds to go. First half, Streator down 7-0. And Benkendorf starting to get a little more in sync. That one was just a tad overthrown. 2nd and 10 at the 33-yard line, we'll call it. Takes the snap. Now flushed out of the pocket. Will keep it, drop back at the 35-yard line. Didn't get the block from the running back Dunkelberger, and as a result, Benkendorf dropped for a 2-yard loss.
And I think Gass was taking another timeout. I'm surprised. I was watching for him to take that timeout right away, and he waited a few extra seconds, so probably shaved off 3 seconds of extra time they could have had. 28.7 seconds to go in the first half. Streator trails 7-0 on a 51-yard pass here late in quarter number 2. Well, recap the sophomore game. Streator basically gave it away. They had the lead, fumbled the ball at the goal line, and then gave up a late touchdown and a 2-point conversion and lost 22-20. I think the one key play there is they were getting ready to punt it away, and whoever the punter was for the JV team, it was a botched snap. They took a hop, and then instead of picking up the ball, he went down to one knee to pick up the ball. So instead of trying to get something off or maybe taking it up a few yards, he was down right on the spot, so that set up Peotone for that game-winning drive. Grace, McCauley, and Melvin split wide to the far side, Moyer to the near side. Bankendorf fakes right, now will throw left, has a receiver, Colton Grace, off his fingertips. Would have had enough for the first down, but for the second time tonight, Grace tried to run with the ball before he actually had it. Looked like he was trying to get a little extra extension there. I couldn't really tell because it's a little darker on that side of the field. I thought he might have been close to being overthrown there. That was a catchable ball, yeah. He just tried to turn and go with the ball before he actually saw it go into his hands. He turned and took his eye off it. As a result, it's now 4th and 12 for the Bulldogs at the Peotone 35. And once again, same formation. Trip receivers to the far side, Moyer to the near side. Bankendorf shotgun formation. We'll spin again to this side. Same play. This time Grace catches it, has enough for the first down along the far sideline to the 20-yard line, and that'll be enough for a Bulldog first down. Should be a pickup of 15. And I believe he got out of bounds at the same time, so should hold the clock up there. It'll be the first trip to the red zone for the Bulldogs. And all red zone trips this year brought to you by Illinois Valley Community Hospital. Spot. I thought it was at about... Well, they're going to call him short of the first down, I think. They're going to say the 25-yard line. If so, that would be a turnover then. I thought he got down to the 20-yard line and had the first down. They're calling it back at about the 25, and Coach Brian Hassett on the field wanting an explanation on it. I thought he had enough of the first down and stepped out of bounds at the 20, but they're going to spot it. They're keeping it close, and I noticed the guy that's holding the down stick is still back where they were at the 35 on the 4th, and they're not even measuring, so it's a turnover. Wow. That's only a gain of 11 there. I thought it was 15. Something fishy in Denmark. They'll just kneel it down here, run out the clock. I'd like to know what happened there. I'm missing a good game tonight. I thought Grace had enough for the first down and then some. But I'm wondering if he might have stepped out of bounds with his left foot before he actually went down. If they were going to call him short, I'm guessing he stepped out of bounds before he actually went down in front of the stick. And that'll be the end of the first half here at the Streator Athletic Field. Peotone in I would say not a defensive battle, but an offensive juggernaut. 7-0. Peotone leads Streator here at the half. We'll have the Streator High School Marching Bulldog Band performing, the Streator High School Streatorettes, that and more. We'll recap the varsity contest, the sophomore contest, and we'll be talking with one of the Streator coaches. All that and more coming your way here at the half. Streator trails 7-0. Halftime show comes your way right after this. You're listening to Bulldog Football, AM 1250, WSPL.
We all want a home mortgage that's simple and adaptable. But what do you want from your mortgage lender? A personal touch, honesty, and experience. This is Ed Molo from Streator Home Savings Bank, and we don't sell your mortgage, allowing us to pass along lower closing costs, quicker turnaround, and more competitive rates and our personal touch. So let us be the key to opening your dream to home ownership. Streator Home Savings Bank on South Monroe Street, Streator, member FDIC, equal housing lender, NMLS number 433934, 421-604.
Your family's health is your top priority, and ours too, which is why OSF Healthcare delivered on its promise to open an emergency center in the Streator community. The new OSF Center for Health Streator Emergency Center has opened its doors at 111 Spring Street, just seconds from downtown. Plus, it's not just emergency services. You'll have access to a network of more than 700 primary care and specialist physicians providing outpatient services, diagnostic imaging, health education classes, and cardiac, rehabilitation, and lab services. And because it's OSF Healthcare, you can rest easy knowing you'll have access to Children's Hospital of Illinois, Illinois Neurological Institute, HeartCare Midwest, and OSF On Call. OSF Healthcare has been working to make a healthier difference throughout Illinois. And now, we're proud to say we are here for Streator too. Visit osfhealthcare.org/Streator.
Big Al Heisler, Nick Dranick back at the Streator High School Athletic Field. Halftime. Here are the varsity contest. Streator trails Peotone by a score of 7-0. The lone touchdown in the half came with 2:44 to go in the second quarter on a 51-yard pass from Trevor Schweisau. Dylan Bugie. The kick was good, and that's where we are here at the half with Peotone leading Streator 7-0. Taking a look at the first half stats, Peotone twice as many yards as the Bulldogs. I have the Blue Devils with 194 yards of total offense to just 90 for Streator. Peotone with 128 yards rushing, 66 passing for its total of 194. Bulldogs with 38 yards rushing, 52 passing for its total of 90. Individually, for Peotone, Chandler Gartner, 123 yards on 14 carries. Dylan Bugie, 3 carries, 10 yards. Ryan Brewer, 1 carry for -5 yards. Passing department, Trevor Schweisau, 4 of 10 for 66 yards and a touchdown. For the Bulldogs, offensively, Todd Dunkelberger, 3 carries, 18 yards. Mario Diaz, 2 carries, 15 yards. John Bankendorf, 7 carries for 3 yards. Dawson McStutz, a carry for 2 yards. Passing department, Bankendorf, 7 of 18 for 52 yards. Receiving for the Bulldogs, Chad Moyer, 2 catches, 20 yards. McCauley, 2 receptions for 17 yards. Colton Grace has 2 catches for 13 yards. And Todd Dunkelberger has a catch for 2 yards.
It's more or less a carbon copy of what we had last week at East Peoria. Bulldogs right now offensively not having a whole lot of momentum on much of any of their drives here today so far. I think they had the one good drive, and that was actually the last drive that they had where they fell short of that first down and possibly get into the red zone for the first time tonight. But everything else has just been, short yardage. I think again you got to credit Peotone for doing well on the line, doing well in their secondary, closing up gaps, doing very great coverage on the receivers tonight, keeping double coverage on a lot of the receivers at the same time. So, a lot of credit does go to the Peotone defense, but I can't not credit Streator's defense either. And I mean, if you take away that one little mess up that they had there with the Bugie 51-yard touchdown reception, and as we were mentioning there when that happened, it looked like maybe that was only supposed to be a short yardage play for Peotone, but instead, Bugie was able to find a couple of holes and take it all the way to the house for that touchdown to get the 7-0 lead where we're at right now at halftime. So I think, it's just you got to look at the adjustments they need to make here at half, do similar adjustments that they had at East Peoria last week, come out with a lot more momentum. You got to get something going there in that first drive to at least take the momentum away, and so that's what they're going to have to look at. And looking at a few other stats here, Al, both sides of the ball, 6 first downs apiece for both teams. If you combine both Peotone and Streator, 0 for 10 on third down conversions. And the positive you can look at on this sheet at least is Streator is +1 in the turnovers. Peotone has 2 in an interception and a turnover on down. Streator with their turnover on down. So just a little bit of they just got to make some adjustments, both offensively more or less than defensively, but come out great here to start off in the second half.
That's a recap of the varsity contest. We'll go down and give you the sophomore results. A heartbreaking loss for the Streator sophomores, 22-20. We'll tell you about it as we continue with the halftime show here at the Streator football field. Streator trails here 7-0. Back after this, you're listening to Bulldog Football, AM 1250, WSPL, and 98.5 FM.
Josh's legendary fishing story started with a morning like any other. He reached the dock and jumped from his truck. He was headed to a remote cove on the far shore. He'd mapped it all out and forgot to put on his truck's parking brake. But the sunken truck was covered, thanks to Farmers Insurance. Not so amphibious vehicle. July 11th, 2015. Talk to a Farmers agent. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Come see me, Matt McMullen, your Farmers Insurance agent, at our new office at 424 East Main Street here in Streator.
Making funeral arrangements can be one of the hardest things a person can do. That is why today, more than ever, people are choosing to talk about their final wishes before the need arises. My name is Jason Telford, and as the owner of the Solon Telford Funeral Home, I have witnessed firsthand how much easier the funeral process can be when pre-arrangements have been made. Whether you simply express your wishes to your funeral director or fully fund your funeral with nothing more to pay in the future, making funeral pre-arrangements can ease the emotional and financial burden on your family. For more information or a free consultation, contact us today at 672-2320, the Solon Telford Funeral Home, understanding what matters most for over 100 years.
Back at the Streator High School Athletic Field, Big Al Heisler, Nick Duranick, joined now by Streator freshman coach Todd Hoffman. Bub's a heartbreaking loss for the sophomores in that prelim game, 22-20. It was 8-8 after one quarter, 14-14 at the half. Bulldogs led 20-14 after three quarters, but then fumbled in that third quarter at the goal line, and then Peotone scored with 2:19 to go. They got the conversion run. They win at 22-20. Some of the individual stats: Austin Stratton, 7 carries, 66 yards and a touchdown. Lucas Shrisky, 7 carries, 44 yards and a touchdown. Trevor Sember, 11 carries for 40 yards. Passing department, Sember was 7 of 17 for 126 yards and a touchdown. Kobe Webb, 5 catches, 96 yards and a touchdown. But the game was Streator's, but they just couldn't hang on at the goal line.
Yeah, it's early in the year. You're still working some kinks out, and it was a game of whoever made the last mistake. That's kind of what it seemed like to me. We had like you said, in the third quarter there, we were marching down. We fumbled the ball inside the 5-yard line. Later on, they were driving. They went for it 4th and 2 on inside their own 40. I can't remember the exact yard line, but it was a gutsy call on their part, and they got it. And that was a little bit of a momentum shift. Give our kids credit. They played hard. They left it all on the field. We had an odd play down the stretch there on a punt with a low snap, and the punter had to go down to get it. And unfortunately, when he went down to get it, his knee hit the ground. It's just one of those things. You can't fault the kid. He was just reacting to the play.
Most guys would go down to one knee to try to get the ball.
Yeah, he didn't have much of a choice. It was just the way it went. He even took the
rough. Like in baseball, go down to the knee to try to get a ground ball, and that's what he did with the football.
It even took the official about 10 seconds to figure it out. It was the right call. But give them credit. They still had 20, 30 yards to go after that. It was a quick strike. We had chances. They had chances. Give them credit. They came out on top, but our kids played hard. They left it all out on the field.
22-20, the final score. A game that could have been won, but you learn from games like this, and you just pick it up and get ready for next week. Now, when do the freshmen play again?
Freshmen play Tuesday night. Yeah, they're going to get into that routine now. Where we're getting into conference season. We'll be playing on Monday nights, but the holiday pushes it back to Tuesday, which. Either way, whatever. We don't have to make the road trip. That's what I'm happy about. So we play on Tuesday. That's okay. And we'll probably see a lot of the same kids. They had quite a few freshmen. Probably about half that team was dressed as freshmen anyway. It doesn't mean they're half on the field were freshmen, but they had quite a few freshmen dressed with them tonight. So we'll be ready to go on Tuesday. We saw a couple things that we didn't expect from them tonight that we didn't see on film from last week when they played Mantino. So, it was as far as freshman goes, at least you get to see a few things, and now have a quick practice tomorrow morning and get prepared for that.
Well, I talked to your dad, Joe, earlier this week in Marseilles. He was a little disappointed. He said, boy, I got Monday through Thursday work now. I got my Fridays free, and now he's coaching freshmen, and he's not playing on Friday night.
Well, if he would have stayed retired when he retired 2 years ago and not went back to work, it wouldn't be a problem now, would it?
No, it wouldn't.
That's all right.
Varsity game, Bubs, for the second week in a row. Streeter's struggling offensively in the first half.
I do think first half, though, looks a little better than last week. Misfired on some passes early. We had a couple drop passes that would have won for nice games. You give them credit. Their line, they're big. You know, I know they're 240, 250 across the line, but they're cut. There ain't an ounce of fat on those guys at all. They're just big,
just like you and me.
Strong, physical. Yeah, maybe you, Al. I'm a little bit beyond the no ounce of fat anymore, but their line is very solid, and that was apparent when you watched film last week. And that's one of the things that allowed them to hang with a very good Mantino team. So, you know, hey, down one score, it's still anybody's game right now. So I believe we get the ball coming out. Correct? Yeah, we kicked off. So hopefully we get a quick strike. You know, last week the offense really got it going in the second half. The ground game got established. So hopefully that can pick up this tonight too.
You talked about Peotone making a gutsy call in their own territory. If I'm not mistaken, they went for it on fourth and about 2 or 3 at about the 33-yard line and got it. And if I'm not mistaken, that's the same drive where the only touchdown of the ball game happened on the 51-yard touchdown pass to the near sideline.
Yeah, I believe you're right.
Was that a broken play defensively?
I don't think so. I just think they manned up. They ran an ISO play, and you know they went to their bread and butter. You know, they're like we just said, they're big, they're strong, they're physical. They want to shove it right down your throat, and on that play, that's what they did.
What adjustments do you think Coach Hassett makes right now in the locker room?
I don't know. You know, I thought defensively we rotated some guys in, and we found some combinations that started to work a little better as the half went on. Like I said, I just think offensively we need to start maintaining some drives. We've had some spurts here that look really good, spurts here and there. We just got to start maintaining and finishing drives right now.
Well, anybody that knows Bubs, do not get a hold of him Sunday night starting at about 6:30. His Fighting Irish will be taking on Texas in college football. So, yeah, your thoughts on that ball game?
It'd be a good game.
I hope so.
Hopefully it's like last year's result. Was about 38-0 or whatever it was. So we'll see how it goes. It's a new year.
Okay, Bubs, thanks for joining us here at the half, and good luck Tuesday, and we'll talk to you next Friday night.
All right, I'll tell the old man I said hi.
I will. I'll tell him. He says, hey, he wants to know when you're buying again.
After he buys again.
Okay, we'll do. And that is Streator freshman coach Todd Bubs Hoffman joining us here as he does every Friday night during halftime of the varsity contest. Streator trails Peotone by a score of 7-0. Both teams back onto the field, warming up, getting set for second half action here this evening. We'll have second half action of Bulldog football coming your way right after this. You're listening to Bulldog football on AM 1250 WSPL and 98.5 FM.
Confronting her with copies of
this game is brought to you by your friends at the Bill Walsh family of dealerships in Iowa, Peru.
Michelle hit, I think it's F3 turns off the satellite.
BillWalsh.com, where you'll always find at least 1,800 vehicles from 27 manufacturers, along with nice people, unbeatable service, and the best advice, all at the right price. Bill Walsh and BillWalsh.com, your hometown dealer. We're powered by service.
The IBCH medical staff is now even stronger with the addition of longtime orthopedic surgeon Dr. UK Sinha. Dr. Sinha will share his talents throughout the valley from his Streator office. With more than 30 years of experience, Dr. Sinha is focused on exceptional outcomes with compassionate care. Considering joint replacement or other orthopedic surgery? Call Dr. Sinha for an appointment at 815-672-2829. Learn more at ibch.org. IBCH, community values extraordinary care.
What matters most is how much we love. What matters most is how much we give.
What matters most are the lives that we have touched and the relationships that we have made. What matters most is our family, our children, and our legacy. At the Solon Telford Funeral Home, we understand what matters most. We know that everyone's needs are different, and that is why we take time to understand what would make the most lasting tribute for your loved one. For more information about our funeral home, contact Jason or Dolly Telford at 672-2320. The Solon Telford Funeral Home, understanding what matters most for over 100 years.
That's what matters most.
Hard work, determination, and the willingness to give more than expected. That's what makes you better. Lucky Trucking has built their company on this and is proud to support the Streator Bulldogs and all the youth in the area, whether it's in the classroom or on the field. With the support of the community and our young people's hard work, determination, and willingness to give more than expected, they will exceed their goals in life. Lucky Trucking in Streator, a leader in warehousing and transfer, including...
It's always easier to have the right tools for any job.
Go ahead.
Back on WSPL, AM 1250, FM 98.5, Nick Duranick along with Big Al Heisler as we're coming to the end of halftime. We're going to take a quick check of your Solon Telford Funeral Home out-of-town scoreboard as we got a few extra updates here. Lyle now taking the lead over Coal City as they're about to get started with fourth quarter action. It's now 8-7 in Coal City for that. A final out of Ottawa, Marquette all over South Beloit today, 57-6. That was a final up there. Heading into the fourth quarter right now, El Paso Grizzlies up on Fieldcrest 26-12. And at last check a couple minutes ago, Ottawa now up on Chicago Brownsville 13-6. They're late in the third quarter there as well. Plano's all over Harvard at the half, 35-0 there. And I believe the other one we have was Morris over Washington right now in the third quarter, 7-3. And that's the scoreboard update brought to us by Solon Telford Funeral Home. And Washington usually has a pretty good... Yes, I was a little surprised there because I think Washington shellacked Normal U-High last week. And if I remember correctly, Washington went far in... I think they're third in the state, yeah. And they're a 5A school? If I 5A school. Set for second half action on WSPL and 98.5 FM. Streator will get the ball to start quarter number 3. Bulldogs will go from left to right here in the third quarter. When the Bulldogs deep men next standing at about the 23-yard line, they don't think that Peotone's going to kick it far. And it will go over the head of the deep guy. Touchdown after hitting the goal.
Well, one of them just looked at it, and the other one just finally picked it up, and that was Cooper Melvin just kind of staring over it, and that's something you got to remember on kickoffs. It's not like a punt; it's a live ball out there, so he's got to pick that up and take it. He let it bounce about a few, probably 5 or 6 yards back, and he just was kind of standing over there until McCauley came over to pick it up, and he was able to take it up a couple of yards. So I think it was probably back at the 1 or 2 yard line back there. And it was Coach Hess that was signaling the deep guys to get up, and they got so far up that the kick went over their head. And now the Bulldogs are deep in their own territory at the 6 yards. So a special teams miscue to start the third quarter here has Streator deep in its own territory. Now McStute's getting onto the field late. I don't even think he's got the play. Bankendorf takes the handoff, and we got a penalty marker down. So you go into a half.
best music.
Come out.
WSPL.
I think the ghosts are back. I didn't even see the call there.
Half the distance to the goal. It's now at the 3-yard line.
Is it a false start that they had there?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's going from bad to worse. 1st and 13 at the 3-yard line. Full house backfield. Handoff to the near side. Not much there. Maybe no gain.
Looked like McStutes was the one pushing up there. I mean, you look at the 3 keys that Hassel was talking about, and, they've been having trouble with all 3 of them, including the first one was protecting Bankendorf. And, Bankendorf's been having a lot of pressure under him where he's been getting those gaps closed on him. He's been pressured into making some bad throws tonight. So that is one key that they need to improve on here in the second half.
2nd and 13 at the 3-yard line. Receivers all over the place. Bankendorf shotgun formation, takes the snap, throws off the hands of Moyer, and fortunately, it goes up, and a Peotone defender was not there to pick it off.
Moyer has been the key target for him tonight so far, and just unable, including for Moyer, he hasn't been able to keep his hands on the ball, or it's been underthrown, overthrown, so just not a lot of connection going between him and Moyer tonight.
3rd and long. 3rd and 13 at the 3-yard line. Opening minute of the third quarter, Bulldogs trail 7-0. If they don't pick up any yardage here, Nick, they'll be forced to punt deep in their own territory and set up Peotone probably for good field position. They fake to the running back. Bankendorf will keep it out past the 5 to the 10. Spinning move out to about the 12. So at least they'll give him some room to punt the ball away. As he'll get out to about the 13, so he'll pick up 10 yards.
So right off the bat here and starting in the second half, you got 2 of those keys that were already kind of hurt upon, including protecting Bankendorf, and then special teams there on the opening kickoff was trouble there. Hopefully we'll have to see how they do here in the punt situation. I would imagine Peotone's going to be bringing a couple extra guys since they're so deep back into their own territory.
Dunkelberger on. End over end punt. Good boot. Taken at the 41-yard line. A fair catch called for. So Peotone will start this drive in Bulldog territory, and they're going to spot it at the 40-yard line.
Well, now we go to the second key that Hassett gave out, which was containing Gardner, and as we're seeing here, 14 carries tonight, 123 yards for him tonight, so not a whole lot of containing going on for him. Gardner last week against state-ranked Mantino, he had 25 carries for 146 yards. And that night he was averaging close to 6 a play, and I think he's pretty close to that tonight.
1st and 10, Peotone at the Bulldog 40-yard line. Receivers both sides, I formation, and the gift, who else? Gardner. But he's going to be dropped for about a 2-yard loss. He's averaging about 8 yards a carry. Isaiah Dukes with the stop. It'll be a loss of 1. Approaching 10 minutes to go here in the third quarter. 2nd and 11 for Peotone. Blue Devils have the ball, and they have a 7-0 lead. 3 receiver sets, single setback, and that single setback gets the carry, and he's got running room inside the 35 down to about the 30. And that'll be a pickup of 11 for Gardner, and that'll be enough for a Peotone first down.
Mario Diaz getting there. He was probably one of the 2 last guys to get through there for Gardner, and he was able to bring him down at least to possibly even prevent another Peotone touchdown.
First and 10. Blue Devils at the Bulldogs 30-yard line. 9.5 minutes to go here, quarter number 3. I-8 crossover game. Streator hosting Peotone. Receivers to both sides, I formation, and the bell cow. Gardner breaks 1 tackle, spin move to about the 28, a tough 2 yards. Had 25 carries last week in the loss to Mantino. He's well on his way to that mark, if not more, here tonight.
He's already nearing that one. He's about 11 yards shy.
Yep, 17 carries. under 9 minutes to go, third quarter. Trick receiver, single setback, Gartner at the 28-yard line. He'll take the handoff, tries to cut it back to the far side, will pick up a couple yards, and it'll be third down. It'd be nice if the Bulldog defense here could make a stop, probably 2-down territory for the Blue Devils. If they don't get the first down here on 3rd and 6, I'm sure they're going to go for it.
Check to see if they did anything with kicking last week at Mantino. I don't believe they did.
3rd and 6 at the Bulldog 26-yard line. I formation, Gardner straight up the middle, has enough, 25-20, down close to the 15-yard line. That was just smash mouth football right there. He'll be stopped at the 16, a pickup of 10. 19 carries, 148 yards. They'll move the chains. Or pick up we'll say a pickup of 10. I gave him 11. 8 minutes to go, third quarter. Peotone in the red zone. 1st and 10, Bulldogs 16-yard line. Peotone leads 7-0. Receivers on both sides, I formation. They'll give it to Gartner again. Why not? He'll get to about the 14, a pickup of 2 before the Bulldogs drive him back. 20 carries, 149 yards. And why not give it to him? The Bulldogs have had a tough time stopping him here tonight.
He's just been a steamroller, and you go 20 carries right now, averaging close to 9 yards a carry. So, why not keep it on him? And the Bulldogs are having now so far this half, and even in many times in the first half, keeping that middle ground closed for him. So it's just been all steamrolled so far.
7:14 and counting to go, third quarter. Peotone, the ball, a 7-0 lead, 2nd and 8 at the 14-yard line. And Gartner again. Very short gain, if at all. We'll give him a gain of 1.
Yep.
150 yards now on 21 totes. Down to the 13-yard line. 3rd and 6.
Another advantage for Peotone, keeping it on the ground with Gardner. They have been chewing off a lot of clock so far tonight.
And I'm sure this is 2-down territory for both Peotone and Gardner. Now shotgun formation for Peotone. Flat pass, touchdown! That Alex Panning beat the defender on the slant on a 13-yard touchdown strike, and Peotone now leads 13-0.
I know Alex Panning's been itching to get into some plays here tonight. He had a couple of miscues back in the first half, and it was the first time, I believe, since late in the first quarter, early in the second quarter, that Schweitzow has passed over to Alex Panning, and it's a good one for them this time around.
Found the 6'4 receiver. And now a 13-0 lead. Extra point try on the way. Snap back, hold down, kick is up, and it is good. Peotone up 14-0, 6:23 to go. Second quarter kickoff after this. You're listening to Bulldog Football on AM 1250 WSPL and 98.5 FM.
The forensic analyst searched for the clue that would lead her to the arsonist. Traces of starch all around the wreckage of the house. Suddenly, all the pieces came together. The fire was started by
an over-microwaved potato?
But the scorched house was covered, thanks to Farmers Insurance. Hot Potato, July 25th, 2015. Talk to a farmer's agent. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Come see me, Matt McMullen, your Farmers Insurance agent, at our new office at 424 East Main Street here in Streator.
6:23 to go, third quarter. Peotone now leads Streator by a score of 14-0 after that 13-yard pass from Trevor Schweitzow to Alex Panning. And Nick, the Bulldog offense has struggled mightily here tonight. And it's going to take a lot for the Bulldogs to muster 2 touchdowns when they haven't done a lot for 2.5 quarters.
And we just remember last year was back and forth here in the second half, so maybe the Bulldogs can start making some noise bring this back into a good game. Now the Bulldogs deep men a little deeper on this kickoff than they were on the last one. Ball taken at the 15-yard line by Mastute, and he'll be upended at about the 22-yard line. The Bulldogs will have it there, 1st and 10. It all started when the Bulldog up men, and I do believe it was Coach Hess that was signaling them to get up further, and they did, and then the ball went over their head, and the Bulldogs started at their own 6-yard line. Then there was a penalty. They were back at the 3. They were forced to punt, gave Peotone excellent field position at the 40-yard line, and the Blue Devils took advantage of it and punched it in, and now they lead 14-0. That's not something you can do with the great ground game that they've been having so far tonight.
Ball at the 23-yard line. 4 receivers set, 3 set up to the far side. Bankerdorf takes the snap, will go straight up the middle. And since he was in shotgun formation, he's only going to get back to the line of scrimmage. He gets up slowly.
He went down hard last week in the first half. I was talking with Coach Hassett about that. And all it was actually last week when we were talking about it was he just got the wind knocked out of him. It looked like when we originally saw it last week at East Peoria, he got kind of hit up high in the chest. But all Hassett was telling me is he got the wind knocked out of him. He fell on the ball, so he was able to come in a few plays later. So that was a good thing to come and see for Mr. John Bankendorf.
5:39 and counting to go, third quarter. Streator trails 14-0. 2nd and 10. Bulldogs their own 23-yard line. Once again, a 4-receiver set. Bankendorf in shotgun formation. Penalty marker down.
I think we had early movement there on, I believe it was Brandon Durden, left tackle, on that false start.
That'll be 2nd and 15 at the 18-yard line. Usually, Nick, they say a team's biggest improvement will be from week 1 to week 2. And I would say it's not shown so much. No, that has not shown for the Bulldogs here so far in 2.5 quarters. Moyer to the near side. McCulley, Melvin, Grace to the far side. Bankendorf shotgun formation, takes the snap, looks left, now flushed out of the pocket, runs straight ahead to the 20, 25-yard line, 30, 35. Bulldog bench past the 40, and they're going to mark him out at the 43-yard line, so that'll be a gain of 25 for John Bankendorf, and that will be the biggest gain of the night for the Bulldogs, the biggest play for Streator. Before that was a 22-yard run by Todd Dunkelberger.
Yeah, just did a good job by Bankendorf looking at his options. He didn't have much to pass for. His Peotone's been good all night with the secondary to keep all the receivers pretty much intact, so he found a nice hole, took advantage of it, and got a nice big gain for it. Bill Walsh, first down.
And the give to Dunkelberger to the 45. Midfield stripe. Had the ball stripped away. And Peotone recovers it. I'm going to give Dunkelberger a 10-yard gain before he coughed it up.
It's all we were talking about earlier in the game when we were talking about the JV game at the same time, is keeping both hands on the ball. And, you know, I've been seeing it all night tonight with these guys that have been running the ball, that have been catching the ball, then they'll come down, keep it pocketed in one arm, and they'll have this other arm free. And I know a lot of guys will do that to try and defend off a couple of extra guys, but once you're starting to get into that big coverage right there, you got to start putting both hands on the ball and protect that, because right now this is not what the Bulldogs needed. They needed this momentum to keep going as they've been having it so far this drive. And unfortunately right there, they would have had another first down on top of that to keep things moving and into Peotone territory. And that was just not a good fundamental play right there.
And we've got an injured Bulldog down on the field that might be the big left tackle, Brandon Durden, the 6'1", 285-pound sophomore. I'm not sure. Brittany Delaney attending to the injured Bulldog. 5:08 to go. Play is stopped. Both teams over to their respective benches. Peotone leads Streator 14-0. Blue Devils will have the ball following the Streator fumble. When we return, and it is Durden, and he'll be helped up off the field. Back in 30 seconds, you're listening to Bulldog Football. AM 1250 WSPL and 98.5 FM.
We all want a home mortgage that's simple and adaptable. But what do you want from your mortgage lender? A personal touch, honesty, and experience. This is Ed Molo from Streator Home Savings Bank, and we don't sell your mortgage, allowing us to pass along lower closing costs, quicker turnaround, and more competitive rates and our personal touch. So let us be the key to opening your dream to home ownership. Streator Home Savings Bank on South Monroe Street, Streator, member FDIC, equal housing lender, NMLS number 433934, 421-604.
Peotone has the ball at their own 43-yard line following the Streator turnover. Gardner gets the handoff across midfield stripe in the Bulldog territory down to about the Streator 43-yard line, and he'll be a yard short of a first down. 22 carries, 159 yards, and I'm going to have to add another column because he's just going to keep running it.
Do you remember how many carries he had in the first?
48-yard line he got to.
Do you remember where you had him down at? Because, I mean, if you were to compare so far this half to last half, he's probably having double the amount of yards per carry so far this half.
Ball at the 47-yard line, 2nd and 1, straight up the middle, enough for the first down inside the Bulldog 45 to the 44, a pickup of 3.
And all the first downs for Peotone tonight, that's their 10th one. All 10 of them have been on the ground.
And that one might have been Bugie. It was. Bugie with the 3-yard carry. He now has 4 carries for 13 yards, down to the 43-yard line. 4:15 and counting to go third quarter. Peotone the ball, a 14-0 lead. And this time the give to Gardner. Off left tackle to the 40, down to the Streator 35-yard line. He'll pick up 8 yards. Boy, he's going like 4 and 5 yards before anybody even lays a hand on him.
I don't think the defense looks tired at all. I think it's just, the front five there for the Blue Devils giving him enough room just to keep on running. They're getting upfield. They're pushing back at a lot of the defenders. They're pushing back at the D-line. They're pushing back at the linebackers at the same time. So they're giving all the guys that are running on the ground tonight plenty of room to run.
2nd and 2 at the Streator 35-yard line. Receivers on both sides, I formation. Give to Bugie straight up the middle, breaks the tackle. He's at the 30, 25, 20, 15, 10 still on his feet, and he'll be dropped there, and it'll be first and goal for Peotone after the 25-yard gain, maybe 24. They're going to mark it at the 11. 24-yard gain for Dylan Bugie. He now has 5 carries for 37 yards, and Peotone in the red zone knocking on the door once again.
Bugie's only coming in as a junior, and he only got some limited touches last year as a sophomore in the same game. But, he's making himself all known here tonight now. He's been getting some big touches.
Bugie, the 5'10", 185-pound junior. Approaching 3 minutes to go, third quarter. 1st and 10 at the 11. 3 receivers set. Give is to Gardner. Gardner, nice tackle by Mario Diaz, and that'll be maybe a loss of 1. And not many times tonight, Nick, has Gardner had a negative carry. If that is, that'll be only a 2nd of the ball game. They'll mark it at the 12th, so it'll be a loss of 1. 24 carries, 166 yards. 2.5 minutes to go, third quarter. Peotone leads Streator 14-0 in an Interstate 8 crossover game here at the Streator Field. Now it's a shotgun formation for Schweitzow. Throws on the slant pattern. Touchdown for Peotone. And Toby Bottom, the recipient of that pass. Last time it was slant left to Panning. This time slant right to Bottoms. And Peotone leads 20-0 after the 12-yard touchdown pass with 2:18 to go here in the third.
I think Streator's defense has just been getting so helped up by, Gardner running the ball tonight and Bugie running the ball tonight that they haven't been getting ready for the pass as they're getting ready to do the PAT, which is up, and it looked like it went off the left upright, so it's no good.
Kick fails, but Peotone now leads by a score of 20-0, 2:18 to go third quarter. Kickoff after this. You're listening to Bulldog Football, AM 1250 WSPL and 98.5 FM.
Josh's legendary fishing story started with a morning like any other. He reached the dock and jumped from his truck. He was headed to a remote cove on the far shore. He'd mapped it all out and forgot to put on his truck's parking brake. But the sunken truck was covered, thanks to Farmers Insurance. Not so amphibious vehicle. July 11th, 2015. Talk to a Farmers agent. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Come see me, Matt McMullen, your Farmers Insurance agent, at our new office at 424 East Main Street here in Streator.
2:18 to go, third quarter. Peotone now leads Streator 20-0, and the Bulldogs are going to have to do a lot in not a lot of time. They haven't scored yet in almost 3 quarters, and they're going to need 3 touchdowns in just a little over a quarter.
So need to see if we can get that momentum back here as we go on offense once again.
And the kick end over end, it'll be taken by Cooper Melvin at the 14-yard line, straight up the middle. 20-25 on his feet to the 30. He'll be dropped there, and Streator will have it 1st and 10. 2:09 to go, third quarter, down by 20.
Had a great drive put together, Al, and as we mentioned, it was unfortunately stopped very, very short by a fumble by Todd Dunkelberger inside of Peotone territory. And again, this is starting to go on where I think, honestly, it's got to get back to some fundamental football right now. Again, keeping both hands on the ball, but also you got to nothing going against Bankendorf tonight. I think, as we've been crediting Peotone's defense all night, they've been closing gaps. They've been keeping double pressure on a lot of the receivers tonight. So, they're making it very, very tough tonight.
1st and 10, Streator, its own 30. 4 receiver set, 3 to the far side. Bankendorf fakes to the running back. Now will throw the pass and drop for a loss.
That's Ryan Brewer there on the coverage real quick as we got another injured Bulldog down at the 33-yard line. But there's just another great example right there, Al, is that secondary is just keeping a close eye on what Streator's been doing all night tonight, and they've been keeping them very, very short on some of these short yardage plays. That is
Cooper Melvin. Cooper Melvin will be helped off the field by,
he's not putting a lot of pressure on his left leg. Looked like he might just have the wind knocked out of him, just kind of the way he's been staggering towards the near sideline here.
Loss of 5 on that pass from Bankendorf to McCulley. 1:57 to go in the third quarter, and he'll be stretched out again. 2nd and 15 for the Bulldogs, Nick. Their own 25-yard line. 3 receiver set. Bankendorf shotgun formation. The snap goes over his head. It's inside the 10-yard line. Bankendorf will pick it up at the goal line. Now he's going to run with it, and he's going to be dropped deep in Bulldog territory. So the wheel's starting to fall off the Bulldog wagon here late in quarter number 3.
And that snap wasn't even anywhere close to Bankendorf. It probably sailed a good 5-6 feet over his head and then took a couple of bounces back there. He picked it up right at the goal line. Looks like they'll get it at the 2-yard line right there, but they will be 3-yard line. Yeah, it'll be a loss of 22 credited to Bankendorf. So you got 30, according to the scoreboard, 38 to go here for the first down.
3rd and 38. Ball at the 3-yard line. A minute to go in the third quarter. Bulldogs trail 20-0. A very quiet Streator crowd here tonight. Bankendorf shotgun formation. They're just going to run it, and not much there.
Looks like even a loss there on that one. I believe that was Dunkelberger on the carry.
That was Diaz.
Diaz. And Diaz has been the guy to go to a lot in these situations. He's been good in these, long situations. He's been able to get some rumbling, bumbling, and stumbling going, but not that time for him.
Well, the Bulldog offense is bumbling, fumbling, and stumbling here in quarter number 3 tonight.
I expect Peotone to bring a few extra guys here, as can't tell if it's Dunk or if it's Benkendorf back there to punt. I would imagine it's done. They're going to let the clock run down the end of the third quarter, and Streator will punt to begin the fourth quarter. 3 quarters of football complete here at the Streator football field. Peotone leads Streator by a score of 20-0. Fourth quarter action right after this. You're listening to Bulldog Football, AM 1250, WSPL.
Staff is now even stronger with the addition of longtime orthopedic surgeon Dr. UK Sinha. Dr. Sinha will share his talents throughout the valley from his Streator office. With more than 30 years of experience, Dr. Sinha is focused on exceptional outcomes with compassionate care. Considering joint replacement or other orthopedic surgery? Call Dr. Sinha for an appointment at 815-672-2829. Learn more at idch.org. IDCH, community values extraordinary care.
This game is brought to you by your friends at the Bill Walsh family of dealerships in Ottawa, Peru, and Streator, where support of high school athletics has always been an important part of our community focus. If you're looking for the best quality new and used vehicles, turn to Bill Walsh and BillWalsh.com, where you'll always find at least 1,800 vehicles from 27 manufacturers, along with nice people, unbeatable service, and the best advice, all at the right price. Bill Walsh and BillWalsh.com, your hometown dealer. We're powered by service.
12 minutes of football remaining. Streator trails Peotone by a score of 20-0. And Streator will be deep in its own territory, punting away. No room for error right here. High punt by Dusselberger will be taken at the 35-yard line. Now to the 30, near side to the 25-20. And that is Toby Bottoms. That was Ryan Brewer, the 5'10", 175-pound sophomore, and now Peotone will have excellent field position. Final score from King Field in Ottawa. Pirates defeat Bronzeville 13-12. Close game there coming out, and really you don't hear much about too many of the urban prep schools down here, at least in this area, out of Chicago. I'm going to say the ball's at the 17-yard line. My mistake, but still excellent field position for Peotone here, opening seconds of the fourth quarter. Peotone up 20-0, starting this drive in the red zone. Give to Gardner. He'll get close to the 15-yard line, a short gain. Final in the Heart of Illinois Conference action, El Paso Gridley over Fieldcrest 26-18. Gain of 1 for Gardner. 25 carries, 167 yards. In a big upset for Morris tonight, they beat number 3 Washington 20-3. We're going to see a lot of Chandler Gardner, I do believe, Nick, here in this fourth quarter. 2nd and 9 at the 16-yard line. Peotone up 20-0. Gardner takes the handoff, left side 15, and he'll be dropped at about the 10. He'll pick up 6. It'll be 3rd and 3. And he's been the highlight of the night tonight, Al, is Chandler Gardner now. You put him at 173 yards, so 26 carries unofficially. They're going to put him at the 15-yard line, so he's going to even get 1 more yard than what I thought. So even with that, he's still averaging 7 yards, 174 yards. So even with that, he's still averaging right now about 6-7 per carry, about what he averaged last week at Mantino. Ball at the 10-yard line. Straight up the middle. Where are they going to spot him? That's Bugey. Very close to the goal line. It'll be another first down for him. At the 10, they're going to spot it down at the 2-yard line, so an 8-yard gain for Bugey. And if they punch it in right here, that might be all she wrote, unless the Bulldogs have one of the biggest comebacks ever. 1st and goal at the 2-yard line. Give to Gardner up the middle. Touchdown, Peotone. Chandler Gardner, a 2-yard run, and Peotone now leads 26-0. And I don't think anybody expected this.
given the way they at least gave Mantino a good game last week, I expected Mantino to come out with a very strong team tonight, but nowhere near a shutout where we're at right now. Extra point kick, snap back, hold down, kick is up, and it is good. All Peotone here tonight at the Streator Field. 27-0. 9:59 to go in the contest. Kickoff after this. You're listening to Bulldog Football. AM 1250 WSPL.
Hard work, determination, and the willingness to give more than expected. That's what makes you better. Lucky Trucking has built their company on this and is proud to support the Streator Bulldogs and all the youth in the area, whether it's in the classroom or on the field. With the support of the community and our young people's hard work, determination, and willingness to give more than expected, they will exceed their goals in life. Lucky Trucking in Streator, a leader in warehousing and transfer, including dry and liquid for over 65 years.
Big Al Heisler, Nick Duranick back at the Streator football field. 9:59 to go. It's all Mantino. 27-0. Peotone. Speaking of Mantino, they fell to Wilmington tonight, 28-12. So Mantino 1-1 on the season now. And I believe Wilmington is 2-0. Thank God we don't have to play Mantino next week after they lost this week. And the ball taken back at about the 10-yard line and returned straight ahead out to about the 22. And Streator will have it there, 1st and 10. Well, I think you can throw out Hassett's second key to the game tonight, and if containing Chandler Gardner, is he's on close to 200 yards tonight, and depending on how this drive goes, you might not see him for the rest of the night. I'm wondering if Tali Chamas is going to start sending out some of his JV guys to get some play time here in the varsity game. 1st and 10, Streator, ball at its own 23-yard line, down 27-0. Bankendorf, shotgun formation, Bankendorf in the backfield, 3 receiver set. Takes the snap, fakes to Dunkelberger, and he's going to be dropped at the 20-yard line, loss of 3. Bulldogs have had two gains of over 20 yards tonight, a 25-yard run by Bankendorf and a 22-yard run by Bankendorf. They've had numerous negative yardage plays here tonight. I got to say a loss of 2. They'll spot it at the 21-yard line. So 2nd and 12 at the 21, approaching 9 minutes to go. Bulldogs down 27-0. Straight ahead, it's Dunkelberger to the 25, a gain of 4. So after gaining close to 100 yards last week, Nick, in the win over East Peoria, Dunkelberger just 5 carries for 32 yards here tonight. Last week was definitely a different story here, as that was starting to turn into some smash mouth football for the Bulldogs last week, but tonight, I'll keep crediting Peotone's defense because that has been the story for them tonight, along with Chandler Gardner. 3rd and 8 at the 25-yard line. Bankendorf takes the snap, rolls left, now throws to the near side, has the receiver, Colton Grace, at the 39. They're going to spot it at the 39, so that'll be a gain of 14. Bankendorf now officially 9 of 21 for 61 yards. Grace, that's his 3rd catch for 27 yards. That's good, though, for a Bulldogs first down, brought to you by Bill Walsh and Streator. You're always first with Bill Walsh, Chevy, Buick, and GNC, corner of Wilmington and Oakley, right here in Streator. 1st and 10 at the 39-yard line. Seneca defeats Rantoul tonight, 36-12. Pass complete to the far side to Moyer. That'll be a gain of 6. The only one that I had a question come up here just a few minutes ago was for SCW. I still have not seen an SCW score tonight.
Bankendorf now 10 of 22 for 67 yards. Ball at the 45, 7.5 minutes remaining. Bankendorf takes the snap. Pump fake, now will air it down to the near sideline, intended for Colton Grace. Oh, and it just escapes his fingertips. Would have been a heck of a throw and a heck of a catch.
Colton Grace has still been his favorite target for tonight. Unfortunately, Colton hasn't been able to come down with the big plays. He's got some of those slant plays, a couple of the screens out there, but they were only for short yardage when it's come to these big plays. Colton had a couple of passes go in and out of his hands, including one that was late back in the second quarter where Streator was making some good momentum to go down for their score, but unfortunately just couldn't come away with it.
7:25 to go, Nick. 3rd and 5 for the Bulldogs. Ball at their own 45-yard line. Give to Dunkelberger. Lost his helmet on the carry. Now we got a penalty marker down. Picked up 2. We'll have to see what the penalty is. Streator trails 27-0. Personal foul against Peotone.
That's their first penalty here this quarter, or this half, actually. Had 5 penalties in the first half for 25 yards, and this will be their first. I think that's one thing we've noticed here tonight, Al, is penalties have been low on both sides combined. You got your 10 penalties there. Streator is 4 for 15. Actually, take that back, 4 for 18. Peotone now 6 for 40.
And that's a Bill Walsh Streator first down. You're always first with Bill Walsh Chevy Buick GMC in Streator. 1st and 10 Streator. Peotone 38-yard line. Bankendorf completes the pass to the 32 near sideline to Colton Grace. And they're going to mark him out at the 28. That's going to be close to a Bulldog first down. It should be a 10-yard pickup.
Your judge is telling him to move the ball up a little bit.
I'm still going to give it 10 yards because that's what it is.
And they're actually giving it a first down there.
Wow, 10 on the nose. Down to the 28-yard line, 1st and 10. Streator trails 27-0, 7:07 to go in the ballgame. Bankendorf rolls out to the right, throws it down to the middle, and McCauley had it in his hands and dropped it at about the 10-yard line.
Really, when you think about it, Al, I mean, there have been a lot of dropped catches here tonight. I know Colton Grace has had a couple there by Preston McCauley now. And you think tonight it's not humid. It hasn't rained. So just focus. Yeah. And I think right now when you think about it, McCauley probably also had the mindset of catch and go and head right to the end zone there as he had lots of room to go. But he turned before he could even catch the ball.
2nd and 10 at the 28. Handoff to Diaz. He'll pick up 2 straight up the middle. It'll be 3rd and 8. Clock running under 7 minutes to go. And now Diaz getting up slowly, holding that right arm.
Bulldog football all season long on WSPL, brought to you by OSF Healthcare, Streator, Ottawa, Mendota, making healthcare altogether better. Streator Home Savings Bank, also a proud sponsor of Bulldog football, 132 South Monroe Street in Streator.
That's only a gain of 1. Officials are starting to
take away yardage.
Yeah, they're taking away yardage. Bankendorf fakes to McStutz, now throws to the near sideline, pass incomplete. Bankendorf unofficially 11 of 26 for 77 yards.
He was going for Colton Grace there once again on that one. And in on the coverage, I believe, is the senior 6-foot quarterback, Jordan Amaski. Almost coming up with the interception there as well.
6:23 remaining. 4th and 8 for the Bulldogs at the 27 of Peotone. 4-receiver set. Bulldogs go for it. Bankendorf throws a slant pass, and Moyer had enough for the first down, but dropped the ball after a hit.
Big hit there by Toby Bottoms coming in, the free safety, making a big hit right there and popping the ball right out. Again, it's been all about Peotone's defense tonight, taking away big plays, forcing fumbles, turnovers, and such on the side of the Bulldogs.
Well, Chandler Gartner with the big night tonight. 27 carries, 176 yards. It'd be like Ezekiel Elliott running behind that big Dallas Cowboy offensive line. Big expectations for the rookie from Ohio State. And it looks like we're going to have some new faces in. Schweissau's still in there, but it looks like we're going to have a new tailback. Is that number 18? Tough to read the number.
18 would be Nathan Battiato, sophomore, 5'7", 142.
Let's write his name in.
That timeout was taken by Streator here.
Bulldogs return to action next week at Coal City. We'll have that game for you live here on WSPL and 98.5. We were hoping the Bulldogs would be 2-0 heading to Coal City, but that does not appear to be the case.
The last check I saw, Coal City was up on Lyle 13-8 midway through the fourth quarter. Trying to get an update on that one at least. NIB 12 foe Caneland over Geneva tonight, 26-24. Well, I should say former NIB 12 foe at least.
Peotone has it 1st and 10, its own 27-yard line, 3-receiver set. Battiato takes the handoff off the left side to the 30, 35, 40, 41-yard line.
Might have a fumble.
Might have a fumble after the gain of 14.
Looks like whoever got there in the trip up, that would have been
gain of 14 on the first carry of the night for Battiato. As Nick mentioned, the 5'7", 140-pound sophomore. They're just going to keep it on the ground and run time off the clock. Under 6 minutes to go. Peotone the ball, a 27-0 lead. And Peotone just taking its time getting the snap off as Schweissau, just looking at the clock, knows when he has to take the snap and give the handoff. And it's a Battiato straight up the middle, gain of 4, 2 carries, 18 yards, 2nd and 6, clock running, 5:25 to go.
WSPL, not only the home of Bulldogs football, we're also the home for the Chicago White Sox as they continue on their season. As we'll have more Sox action tomorrow as they're taking on the Minnesota Twinkies. Right now, after 8, it's the Sox up 8-4 on the Twins.
Second and 5 or 6 at the 45-yard line. Battiato off the left side. Gets to the midfield stripe. He'll pick up 5. The clock continues to run. Well, Nick, when I first started, say 30 years ago, the station carried Chicago Cubs baseball. So the times have changed. Up gain of 4 after they spot it back.
I will say I think we had a little bit of fight going for Cubs baseball. Instead, this season would have been a great year to pick.
Oh, it would have been a great.
With all the changes that they've been making up in Chicago now, with the Cubs on 670 up there, and the White Sox on 890, and Cubs were on 890 last year. So we changed.
Never even football.
Yeah.
4:06 to go. 3rd and 1. The Bulldogs will tackle Peotone for a loss.
Didn't even look like Schweisau really wanted to give up on the ball.
No.
Peotone just kind of took their arms, and they were just kind of hugging arms there, and let the D line come in and take them down there for a little bit of a loss.
Loss 3. He now has 4 carries for 19 yards, 340 and counting, and Peotone most likely will punt it away.
Well, I'm sure you were talking to Bumps at halftime. The nice thing about this weekend, it's also the start of college football as well.
And Notre Dame playing Texas Sunday night. Tomorrow LSU and Wisconsin, Alabama, USC, Illinois, Murray State. Delay a game coming up against Peotone, and the Blue Devils don't care about the 5-yard walk-off.
I was talking to Bubs last night before I did my interview with Hassett about Notre Dame and Texas, and Notre Dame took it to them in South Bend last year, 38-3, and I was telling them, you got to expect a much, much different Texas team this year.
Oh, the punter shanks it off his foot, and it's going to go out of bounds at the 41-yard line, so it'll be no gain. There'll be no yards on the punt.
Dante Magana getting in there for a little time for himself. 5'11", junior, 200 pounds. He was able to get actually a paw on that one to kind of stoke it away there. And that looked like it was even did they even get any positive yardage?
No, it was a 0. It was at the, I do believe it was at the 41-yard line after the delay of game, so a 0-yard punt. 2:58 to go. Streator trails 27-0. They have it at the Peotone 41-yard line.
I think now would just be getting on the board. We need to hear you sing the jingle tonight.
Yeah.
At least once.
I'm out of practice. Chad Moyer to the far side. McCulley in the slot to the right. Colton Grace to the near side. Dunkelberger on. Now a late. Kendall Austin comes in late. Now we're going to have to delay a game against Streator.
Plano all over Harvard tonight, 42-14. Reapers now 1-1 on the season. And Rock Falls mounting a comeback in Mendota. Mendota was up double the score, now only up 42-37.
Bankendorf hands to Dunkelberger off the right side of the 45-40. On his feet to the 35. And he's going to find his way inside the 30. We're going to have to wait to see where they call him out. Stays down at about the 32-yard line, so that'll be a gain of 14. Fourteen-yard gain, so it should be 2nd and 1. 2:04 and counting to go. The only thing now is, will Streator score? They're down 27-0 as Mario Diaz walks off the field. 1:55 and counting now to go.
Dunkelberger coming off now.
2nd and 1 at the 32-yard line. 3 receivers set. Bankendorf takes the snap, shotgun formation, throws to the near side to Colton Grace. He'll be stopped at the 27-yard line. 26, a gain of 6.
To Bill Walsh, first down. You're always first with Bill Walsh, Chevy Buick, and GMC, and Streator.
Grace now 5 catches, 43 yards. Bulldogs have it. 1st and 10 at the 26-yard line, and the handoff to the near side to Dawson McStute. Not much there. 1:35 and counting to go. Peotone will go to 1-1. Streator will fall to 1-1. Be no gain for McStute on just his 2nd carry of the night. 2nd and 10 at the 26, 1:20 and counting to go. 3 receivers set. Bankendorf shotgun formation will air it out. Fade pass to the near sideline. Overshot the intended receiver. Bankendorf now unofficially 12 of 29 for 83 yards.
Talking about Herscher earlier in the game, Al, coming into the I-8 large. Herscher, big win over Clifton Central tonight, 64-6. Tigers mounting out a lot of points tonight. 1:13 to go. 3rd and 10, Streator. Peotone 26-yard line. Streator trails 27-0. 3 receivers set, and the handoff goes to number 48, and that's Lucas Sharisky getting his first carry of the ball game, the 5'10", 180-pound sophomore. And he will lose a yard. As we are under a minute to go into the ball game. 4th and 11 at the 27-yard line. Vankendorf takes the snap, throws it to the far side. The pass is complete to Moyer to the far sideline, to the 25-20, to the 15, maybe down inside the 10. We're going to have to wait to see where the spot is. And they're going to spot it at the 6-yard line. That'll be a gain of 21. To Moyer. Yeah, I got 31 seconds to see if we can hear you see the jingle now. Gain of 21 to Moyer. Ball at the 6-yard line. 23 seconds to go. Shotgun formation. Vankendorf flushed out of the pocket. Now we'll leave it into the end zone, and it's touchdown Bulldogs! Preston McCulley with the 6-yard touchdown catch, and the Bulldogs get on the board with 15 seconds to go. Something you like to see here, Al, is you're down in a very tough game here against Peotone. You're getting shut out at the same time, but you get to take away that little bit of glory there from the Blue Devils tonight, putting a different type of crooked number up there on the scoreboard instead of a 0. And on is Alonzo Flores for the extra point try. 27-6 is the score right now. The Bulldogs score with 15 seconds to go. Snap back, hold down, kick is up, and it is good. And Bulldog touchdown brought to us by Farmers Insurance. Farmers Insurance agent Matt McMullen. We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum. Stop in and see Matt today and see what Farmers Insurance can do for you on North Monroe Street in Streator. And I thought during his commercial he set now on Main Street, their new location, so we might have to change. We don't have to look into that.
Yes. Kick is good by Flores, making it 27-7. See, I pay attention during the commercials. (27-7), Peotone leads, 15 seconds to go. Unofficially, after that touchdown by Streator, I have John Vankendorf 14 of 31 for 110 yards. Approaching 10 o'clock. I think we expected Vankendorf to get a few more extra passing plays in there tonight at least. Trying out the dual threat. Making the defensive threat at the same time of Peotone. It's just been taking anything away from the Bulldogs tonight. As Al said earlier, we're going to be at Coal City next week.
AM 1250 and FM 9.
As that top of the tone does say, it's 10 o'clock here on WSPL in Streator. As I was saying, we'll be at Coal City next week as the Bulldogs will be taking on the Kohlers. I believe Coal City was the winner tonight over Lyle, 13-8. I haven't seen the final score on that, but that was the last score I saw about mid or late way into the fourth quarter there for the Kohlers and the Lions. Onside kick here. No, I wouldn't think so. They kick it away. Now Peone's just going to wait till someone gets close to him, and he'll go down to a knee with 8.8 seconds to go. He'll take the knee, and that will be it. Again, very appreciative of our sponsors here on WSPL, OSF Healthcare, Streator, Ottawa, Mendota, making healthcare altogether better. Streator Home Savings Bank at 132 Southwood Rose Street in Streator and SOCU, along with our other sponsors, Bill Walsh, Illinois Valley Community Hospital, Solon Tough Funeral Home, and Farmers Insurance Agent Matt McMullen. As Blue Devils are in victory formation here. Formation that we got to enjoy last week. And that'll do it. Final score from the Streator High School football field. Peotone with a convincing 27-7 win over Streator here this evening. We'll be along with the post-game show right after this. You're listening to Bulldog Football, AM 1250 WSPL.
It's always easier to have the right tools for any job, and the same is true for a better and more convenient banking experience. This is Ed Molo from Streator Home Savings Bank, and we have all the tools you need, from Streator Home's interest-bearing now checking accounts and debit cards to our complimentary online banking, bill pay, and ATM. We're Streator Home Savings Bank on South Monroe Street in Streator, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Making funeral arrangements can be one of the hardest things a person can do. That is why today, more than ever, people are choosing to talk about their final wishes before the need arises. My name is Jason Telford, and as the owner of the Solon Telford Funeral Home, I have witnessed firsthand how much easier the funeral process can be when pre-arrangements have been made. Whether you simply express your wishes to your funeral director or fully fund your funeral with nothing more to pay in the future, making funeral pre-arrangements can ease the emotional and financial burden on your family. For more information or a free consultation,
the forensic analyst searched for the clue that would lead her to the arsonist. Traces of starch all around the wreckage of the house. Suddenly, all the pieces came together. The fire was started by
an over-microwaved potato?
But the scorched house was covered, thanks to Farmers Insurance. Hot Potato, July 25th, 2015. Talk to a farmer's agent. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Come see me, Matt McMullen, your Farmers Insurance Agent, at our new office at 424 East Main Street here in Streator.
I was right, Nick Duranick. Wasn't I? You were right, sir. I listened to the commercials. We'll have to change that to his new office on Main Street in Streator. Oh, it does say North Monroe on there, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. The jack of all trades, master of none. Big Al Heisler, Nick Duranick back at the Streator football field, where tonight, Peotone, a convincing 27-7 win over the Streator Bulldogs in an Interstate 8 crossover game. It was a scoreless first quarter, and it was scoreless all the way to the 2:44 mark of the second quarter when Peotone got on the board on a 51-yard pass from Trevor Schweisau to Dylan Bugie. The kick was good, and it was 7-0 Peotone at the half. They would make it 14-0 with 6:20 to go in the third quarter on a Schweisau 13-yard pass to Alex Panning. The kick was good. Peotone led 14-0, but they weren't done yet in the third quarter. With 2:18 to go in the third, Schweisau with his third touchdown pass of the ball game. This one 13 yards to Toby Bottom. The kick failed. Peotone led 20-0 after the third quarter. Blue Devils would make it 27-0 with 9:59 to go in the ball game on a 2-yard run by Chandler Gardner. The kick was good. Peotone led 27-0. Bulldogs finally got on the board with 15 seconds to go in the ball game on a 6-yard pass from John Bankendorf to Preston McCulley. Alonzo Flores added the kick, making the final score Peotone 27, Streator 7. Taking a look at stats on the ball game, team stats. Peotone won that battle as well, 295 yards unofficially to Streator's 189. Peotone with 235 yards rushing, 60 passing for its total of 295. Streator 79 yards rushing, 110 passing for its total of 189. The bell cow tonight for Peotone, the junior running back Chandler Gardner, unofficially 27 carries, 176 yards, and a touchdown. Dylan Bugie, 6 carries, 45 yards. For Peotone passing department, Trevor was 4 of 10 for 66 yards and 3 touchdowns. And I don't think I can, on his pass, one of the passes, I didn't give him the completion on that one, so he'll have a little bit more total yards for his effort here tonight. For the Streator Bulldogs offensively, Todd Dunkelberger, 7 carries, 48 yards. John Benkendorf had 12 carries for 14 yards. Mario Diaz had 4 carries for 16 yards. Passing department, Benkendorf unofficially 14 of 31 for 110 yards and a touchdown. Receiving department for the Bulldogs, Chad Moyer had 4 catches, 47 yards. McCulley, 4 catches, 18 yards and a touchdown. Colton Grace, 5 catches for 43 yards. Dunkelberger had a catch for 2 yards. But it was all Peotone here tonight, Nick, as they defeat Streator by a final score of 27-7. Both teams are now 1-1 on the season. Streator returns to action a week from tonight. They travel to Coal City to take on the Kohlers in I-8 conference action.
And really, Al, when you really recap all tonight, as you mentioned, it was Gardner just being a bulldozer for one, racking up all that yardage tonight. But two, I would think it would be, you couldn't really say Streator had necessarily a bad game themselves on offense. It was more or less that Peotone was giving them a very hard time of getting anything done on offense tonight. You look at their secondary, you look at their rush, you look at everything that they were doing defensively tonight was pretty much on the spot, including a big couple of stops there. I know we had one late there in the second quarter, and then that catch by Colton Grace, which ended up just shy of the first down there on that possible fourth down conversion that could have kept Streator's momentum going in the right way. And I believe only at that time, Streator was only down 7 or 14-0 at the time. So you look at, Colton Grace actually converting on that fourth down, that would have probably been a big momentum shift in this game. But all in all, you can't discredit anything out of Peotone tonight. They did it right on the offensive side of the ball. They did it right on the defensive side of the ball. And that's really what led to their win. And that's also what led to the very tough game that they gave number 7 Mantino last week at the same time. So Peotone, at least in the I-8 small, will be a possible force to reckon with, although they'll have to fight there with Wilmington here this year. And Wilmington, they racked up a big win tonight at the same time. So really, Wilmington's going to rack up a lot of big wins. Yes, they will. And Wilmington will be no surprise to take home the I-8 small this year. Although, again, if Peotone plays like this, I would say they will at least give Wilmington some sort of a game. But, again, you look at a lot of the big games that Wilmington has had in the past, including playing Mantino tonight in a cross-conference game. You would have thought that would have been closer. I think Wilmington ended up winning by 2 touchdowns. So, I would say, this Peotone team right now, just based off of their first 2 games, despite being 1-1, I mean, you're only a couple weeks into the season, played hard against Mantino, played a very, very good game tonight here against these Bulldogs. They will be a force to be reckoned with, at least in the I-8 small. And, the I-8 large, you always look towards Mantino, but, Mantino's been struggling already here to start the first couple of weeks of the season. So, you might have a little bit of a toss-up here for the I-8 large this year. You can look at, Coal City. They played really well tonight from what I've been seeing against Lyle. You could also give it to Mantino. So I-8's always a good football conference. And, Streator, they just need to, after tonight, you had a tale of 2 games, one from last week where they put it away pretty early against East Peoria, and then tonight they just couldn't get anything done. So lots to work on this week in practice, but a good week of practice could bring out a good game at Coal City next week.
Peotone defeats Streator in the varsity game 27-7. Peotone also wins the sophomore game 22-20. Streator now 1-1 on both levels. And Bulldogs, as Nick said, return to action next Friday at Coal City for I-8 conference play. We'll have that game for you here on AM 1250 WSPL and 98.5 FM. I'd like to thank all the sponsors that made Bulldog football possible here this evening. I'd like to thank our engineer back at the studio, Michelle, for a job well done. Also, Streator freshman coach Todd Bubs Hoffman for joining us at halftime of the varsity contest, and my color man, Nick Duranick. For all those folks I've mentioned, have a good Labor Day, everyone.
I just want to make a mention that I will be back on the morning show on Tuesday. Yes, after a very, very long hiatus. I've been on vacation for the past couple of weeks, so I just wanted to let everyone know because I've been told that a lot of people have been asking where I've been. I'm just taking a little breather as we've been hitting in the football season, but I will be back Tuesday for the WSPL morning show starting at 7, and you will be on there with sports, and I'll be on there with sports.
Thanks for listening. This is the place for America.
For all those folks I've mentioned, I'm Al Heisler. Good night, everyone.
Thanks for listening to Streator Bulldogs football on WSPL. Tune in next week as Streator travels to Coal City to take on the Kohlers. Bulldogs football is brought to you in part by OSF Healthcare, Streator Home Savings Bank, Bill Walsh Chevy Buick GMC Streator, Solon Telfer Funeral Home, SOCU, Farmers Insurance Agent Matt McMullen, Lucky Trucking, and Illinois Valley Community Hospital. Good night.